do tend to miss them.
Here we go. What is up, everybody? Just apologize, I didn't tell the lads we've gone live. We are now live.
Intro. I was
Look at
doing
these
the
guys.
whole.
You're all right, Lincoln. We are on, man. Are you good? Look at this.
He didn't know. No one knew.
That was my fault, as always. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the VR Link. This is our weekly Sunday VR show that gives you and us the chance to sit back and discuss what's been happening in virtual reality, and I'm sure we can all agree that a lot has happened in the last 7 days. First, allow me to introduce Salsa from Salsa Ketchup VR.
Hello.
Nat from 7 Degrees of Gaming.
Hi, guys.
And Lincoln Clay from Lincoln Clay 670.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Nice. Let me just roll this bad boy down. So today we'll be chatting about what everyone's been playing this week, the games released and what's coming next week, and probably stuff in the future. And of course, state of play. And then the big one, I think, in comparison is OC6. Before we get started, where am I now? Before we get started, I'd like to thank the amazing patrons of the channel whose names are listed below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel, I've done these little tiers here that someone was talking to me about on Patreon, so they're there now, just to set up and stuff. And in the links, we've got a link to the Discord, where it's lots of positive VR enthusiasts, various channels to discuss tech, movies, and music. And you can also leave us questions or conversation points that you want brought up in the show. So let's go over what everyone has been playing this week, and please let us know in the chat what you've been playing too. And I think this week we'll go with Nat first for what he's been playing this week, if possible.
Well, there's only one VR game that I played this week, and it was the game that was dropped on Wednesday by Oculus, which is Star Wars Story Vader Immortal Episode 2.
Let me get a bloody thing up for that, man, so we can talk about that quickly.
Yeah, same. It's the same for me as well. That's really the game that I have played this week, because different things. So that's the same for me.
Yeah, cool. I definitely played that. Did you get to play that, Lincoln?
I did monkey around with the lightsaber dojo a little bit, experimenting with the Force. But mostly this week I've been playing Beat Saber, because I finally got up off my tail and took the necessary steps to get the songs back that I lost. You know, as far as custom tracks goes.
Right.
So I've been having a ball playing some of my favorite songs on Beat Saber.
Oh, nice, man. Do you know what? I've never done the custom songs on Beat Saber, and to be fair, I just don't ever feel like I'd ever have time to experiment with stuff like that. But yeah, so thoughts on I thought it was amazing at OC6 that they dropped Vader Immortal during that show.
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting a release date. So when they came out and said, "Oh, Vader Immortal 2 Episode 2," I was like, great. And to be perfectly honest, in my wildest dreams, I didn't expect them to drop it, for the simple reason I thought they would tie it into the actual Star Wars film, Rise of Skywalker. I thought they'd most probably drop it about a week before then.
Okay.
Just as Star Wars hype is really, building.
Yeah.
But they dropped it. In terms of my thoughts about it, it's not as good as Episode 1. It definitely is a lull compared to Episode 1. But it is still fun. It is still Star Wars, so it absolutely looks amazing, even in the Oculus Quest headset. I don't know if you played it on the Rift or you played it on the Quest. Obviously, I played it on the Quest because I don't have a Rift. But the one thing I did find amusing, and I should have really taken Salsa's advice in terms of the straps for the Oculus Quest touch controllers, is when I was doing the Force things, I was not only pushing my hand out like you meant to, but I was then expanding my fingers like you do in the when they do it in the movies and they go like that. I was doing that all the time. There was so many times I was literally throwing my controller off. Now, luckily, it didn't fly off my hand, but it almost did. But it's really good, and it sets it up well. Third, to be honest, my issue with it, and one of the reasons I don't think it was as well paced as the first one, and there wasn't, for me, enough Vader. Vader kind of seemed secondary, and he seemed a much more menacing presence in the first episode. But don't get me wrong, it's still excellent. I had somebody turn around to me and say, "Is it worth buying it for $7.99?" It's like, if you like Star Wars, yes, it really is, because you've got a lightsaber and you've got the Force powers, and I think they've now set it up for a real, swing for the fences, bat it home in episode 3, which is obviously the final part of it. But I think they've really set it up to, here's the Force powers, learn those, here's the lightsaber. And for episode 3, I think it's going to be a case of go to town, have
Nice.
fun.
What
So
about you, Lincoln? Did you check this out, dude?
Only for a moment, because it is cross-buy. So my biggest reasons for taking a look at it was I wanted to see the difference between the Rift S and the Quest, and there's barely a difference. So for me, it doesn't really matter which headset you play on. They both look pretty close.
That's awesome to hear, dude, because that's one of the things that people want to know. Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah, so with that being said, I think I'm going to play it on the Rift S only because I can stream it. Because I understand there's a lot of work to try to stream from the Quest, and it's just something that I don't think I want to just dive into, because it looks like it's going to be a big headache trying to set it up.
And it's cost as well, as at the moment you haven't got to pay. You've already paid your money for whatever setup you have. So there is a cost involved. What about you, Salsa?
I tried it a little bit on the Quest for the dojo, but I played the main thing on my Rift, so that I had the PC power in behind the back of it there. Pretty much the same as that. I think story-wise, it's not as long as the first episode. It's not as involved story-wise. There's not as much to dig into there, which is a shame. But what there was, I enjoyed. If you're a Star Wars fan, again, absolutely 100% pick it up. The graphics, I thought they'd done a bit more work on the graphics this time than they did in the first one. I think they've been much more careful over the actual setting and the lighting and everything else like that, but that's from the PC version of the in-game parts, where there's some really nice things there. What they have done really well is that feeling of the Force, of that whole lifting something up, I'm moving it around with my Force feelers and just going, wah! And everything was flowing nicely. Like you say, in case anybody's wondering what that was on about there, about the things for the knuckle controllers, here's one of the controller things, which is a mammoth thing where you have your hand that goes in there, but they're a little bit, sometimes these aren't the most comfortable thing on the controllers, so I don't have them on all the time.
I've got them coming this week, actually. Those
they're better on the Quest than they are on the original Rift. I'm going to say that they're more comfortable on the Quest.
On the newer controllers, yeah.
I found them a little bit.
Is it foveated rendering that they call it in the Quest, that they use quite a lot to bring a door? So the outside is probably less.
Circle. It's like a circle part that comes in so that the center of the screen has the high detail, and then the outside is a lot more blurred where they don't put as much detail
I could see that a bit more on Vader Immortal 2 than I did the first one. And I don't know why that was. I mean, not saying it bothers me, it doesn't, because you notice it and then at the same time you forget it as well, sort of thing. But yeah, I thought the Quest version was amazing. And I agree with you completely. I think everyone's on the same. The story was a bit more forgettable. There was... I think episode 1 was really good. That's the thing. It started massively high.
Yeah, I do think the first part that you come to with Vader Immortal 2, that because it was really Vader straight in, but it's sort of like I was hoping for a little bit more story and stuff like that, but for what it is. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's an absolute must-buy anyway. But I think the dojo bit is going to be best on Quest, where you can turn around in a 360 and just go out with your Force powers and your lightsaber. And how many of you guys enjoyed throwing the lightsaber away and then just...
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that is like a godly move. worth the money by itself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, and it's exactly like Nat said. It depends how much of a Star Wars fan you are when it comes to the cost of something. Because $7.99 for me to be able to throw a lightsaber using the Force is pittance. You know what I mean, it's like I'm getting a lot of value for my money. So yeah, I don't really, when I see something like that.
Not only that, also something that I like is using the Force to draw the enemies in and then slice them in half with the lightsaber.
Yeah, and we had the environmental stuff as well, didn't we? You had like the fan you could throw them into. There was like the crusher that you could use the Force to. Yeah, the electric fence. So yeah, I personally think the actual story was a little bit not as good as the first one, but the Jedi Trials were better than the first.
Yeah, the Jedi Control's definitely better than the first. The dojo then pans out something more in there. I've only done a bit of the dojo because just time and things like that. Did they end up with some more of the sword fighting as well? Or lightsaber fighting with the robots as well later on, or not?
Yeah, going by memory.
There is a bit towards the end.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about when you pick up the special lightsaber, no, there's no more lightsaber fighting robots after that. Well, there's a small bit after that, and then you take on the big beastie again. I can't remember what
not the storyline. I'm just meaning the dojo.
Yeah, the dojo. Okay. I think there was some robots. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So let's jump into the chat. Say hello. We've got Boy Brown, Sunny in VR. How you doing? Nice. We've got that guy's Will. I've got Stream Elements doing something about PayPal. I've got no idea what that is at the moment. Mick McLaughlin? I know it's Mick. I always call him Mick, but I want to say I'm going to have to contact him and find out how to pronounce his last name.
McKelly?
McClowan?
I would say McKelly.
Where are you looking from?
Mick.
McKelly VR.
No, not him. Not him.
Oh, okay.
There's another one. But yeah, hello. Fez69, how you doing, man? Great Tantrum. TGK. Nice. Mike Kelly. Honosuri, how's it going, dude? Liked your video the other day. Gaming Legends. Who else we got? Ham. Excellent stuff. JD Max. Vignesh. Nice, how you doing? I think I said hello to Gaming Legends, not too sure.
Lots of new people.
Dirk Feder. Yeah,
cool.
I know. I'm not used to saying these
great,
names. Man. DTTV. Nice. What we got there? I'm looking. So Ravi says, I'm looking at the Gigabyte Aero 15X. Dude, Sal, so that's your area. You can have a look at that. The VR Realm, how's it going? Nice, guys. Yeah, if you could take a look at that for us, that'd be great. What do we want to talk about first then? So let's try and get some news out of the way, recent events and stuff. So, and as I go, this is in no particular order, guys. Once again, it's a little bit crazy. Is Solaris, which is the new 4v4 multiplayer game coming from First Contact Entertainment, and I know you guys know some information about this.
Yeah, well, like Firewall Zero Hour, it's going to have one game mode. This developer really likes one game mode, man. It's called Control Point, and it literally is King of the Hill. You need to take a point, take an area. You need to hold it. It's 4v4. Everything I've been reading about this is they are pretty much saying it is Quake in VR. Because you start with a pistol.
That's big.
You run, and there will be spots that have weapons. You literally run over it to gain the weapon, and you have the weapon. But what they're saying is it's fast-paced and it's intense. It looks like they've designed this game for you to have your VR legs.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the bit that I really like about that. They're unapologetic about what they want the game to be. They are saying, this is fast, this is Quake in VR pretty much.
Cool.
You need to have your VR legs. If you don't have your VR legs, you better stay away from our game. But I got to admit, when they mentioned that, I was like, yeah, because that was my issue with Telefrag. I was just like, well, you kind of want to be Quake, but you don't want to be Quake.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's nothing wrong with to doing a Quake. But the thing that's going to nail whether this game is good or bad is going to be the maps. If they're doing it that way, if they got really really good maps, and let's be honest, their map design for Firewall Zero Hour has been excellent.
Mate. Yeah.
Like I say, this looks like something to look forward to in 2020. We now got confirmation that it is coming to PlayStation VR, because we was shown at E3 that it was an Oculus title. They put the Oculus logo.
That's correct.
We knew it was coming to Rift. We knew it was coming to Quest. It was going to be cross-platform play. It was going to be cross-buy. But obviously the announcement out of OC6 was we're bringing it to PlayStation VR as well. No confirmation if it's going to be cross-platform with PlayStation VR. But as far as I'm concerned, absolutely fantastic news.
Yeah.
And again, another game to be excited for. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on it.
We need to mention the servers as well. That was quite big news, wasn't
Dedicated, yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead, Salsa.
No. Okay. Well, I was just going to say, obviously, I've seen the trailer for it, which is kind of brief, hasn't really digged into any of the gameplay footage yet. But that was Quest and PC based as well. They didn't mention PSVR yet on that, but we'd probably assume that PSVR is coming.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No.
On the trailer, they didn't mention PlayStation. Admittedly, I noticed that, but they have said it is coming to PlayStation VR with dedicated servers.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, straight up, it looks good. It's awaiting that playing of. If they do that and they do it right, and I'm going to say this just because of the one thing that I really, really hated about Firewall is when it comes to lobbies, please just do a ready up system or something, because I don't want to sitting there for 9 bloody minutes or whatever, however much time it takes. I don't want another lobby simulator type of area where I'm sitting waiting. I think if you're going to keep fast-paced gameplay, you need to just say, ready, go.
Yeah, no worries. Lincoln, you wanted to add something to this, I believe.
I did want to add that if you look at the trailer, one small feature that I think looks like it's gonna be in this game, that's gonna add a lot of fun to the game, make it very intense, and is if you look at it, how the character slid across the floor. And the first time I saw a feature like that was like in one of the Call of Duty games.
Yeah, Black Ops.
It definitely added right there, that slide right there.
Yeah.
That's going to add a different element to a game, because you think you get ready to shoot at somebody, you think you got them in their sights, and they slide underneath that shot. That's going to make it very, very interesting. It's going to make it a lot of fun.
If they keep it in there, like, it's not just like this isn't gameplay, obviously. This is just a pre-rendered movie thing. If that stays as gameplay, yeah, man, you're absolutely right.
Now, another thing is, will you be able to slide and shoot someone like that while you're sliding?
Yeah, like a Vanquish or whatever. That was awesome. I used to love
Sorry, it kind of looked like they was picking up a gun as they was doing the slide.
It reminded me of Vanquish when he done that. I think the character models and the heads and stuff, it kind of reminded me of that particular game, even though Vanquish was absolutely nuts. And it was a good game. Yeah, it was a good game.
Love that game. That's amazing.
Yeah. You're right, Drew196. How's it going? JD Max said we're going to need a bigger link. Right, Stephen, how's it going? Nice. Who else have we got? Ravi says, Honestly, we've been using the Quest for 3 months. Love it. I did try the Rift S, but I don't think I can go back to a wide headset anymore. We will be coming to that later on, and in due time. Who else have I got that I might have missed? Anyone? What have guys been playing? Has anyone been looking at the chat? See what I've been playing? Drew says he's been playing some Mafia 3.
I see. Well, we know that JD is going to be doing some racing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, get to the chopper. Get to the neon-looking awesome retro background. Nice. Cheers, dude. Thank you. Yeah, we wanted to go with that because we changed the thumbnail, and I wanted to go with a sort of look that fitted everything. Streetwax TV, how is it going? Do you guys watch the VR League? No, I don't, but I do know someone from the VR League, and I was supposed to go to an event at one time, but it hasn't happened. But I've still got connections, and hopefully something will come from that. Who else we got? Carl Robinson, how's it going? What's it called? Anyone know what it's called?
Hey,
What it's called?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not sure.
what's what called?
Yeah, don't know. For now, we'll call it the same thing that Homer called that thing that took over Marge, Gambler. Gambler. That's what we'll call it for now. I'm
I
Hot
saw
G.
something in the chat.
Oh,
I saw something in the chat.
oh,
I'm Hot G. Says Sorrento on Quest now has multiplayer.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
we-
I really want to check that out this week.
Yeah.
I'm not really buying that game on Quest.
No.
Oh,
I
be
don't
like that.
care.
Don't be like that. What else have we got here that we could? Well, there's so much we could talk about.
Does it apply to? No, it does. It was on there on the PSVR anyway. So yeah. I just talked myself out at that point. I was just going to say there is multiplayer already on PSVR versions with Silento as well. Anyway.
Nice. So, next up, we wanted to chat about the Gorn release coming to PSVR quickly. That's very happy about this game. So, what are your thoughts on this? It is this should have been out a while ago, but I guess there's still a small development team trying to push this stuff through, and it is a fantastic game, and I think this will fit well on the PSVR.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think this game is going to do really well on the PlayStation VR. It's a fun game. It's got a little bit of, comical blood and gore in it. It's really fun. I do have it on PC, and I think this game is going to do really well on PlayStation VR. And I hope we hear some kind of follow-up info on how the game's doing.
Yeah, I think it's a great game. I love it, and I've had nothing but great times with this game. What about you, South?
It's not one that I've actually played. Be truthful, I haven't done the Gorn thing, and yeah, I know. For all the games I play and all the games I own, I mean, even PSVR, I've got about 100 titles on PSVR, and probably the same amount on PC. And Gorn is one that has passed me by.
Yeah.
I think it fell into one of those things where it was already available on PC, and then I got my PC headset, and then of course I was full on with the racing games and simulation stuff, and they take up a huge amount of time. So you don't always get round to some of these experiences. And the other one is
South, what was that?
that is somebody opening the door and going,
"Oh, right."
Like,
oh,
no.
Yeah, go on.
In the middle of doing a live broadcast, and it's somebody asking something.
Lost yourself, haven't you?
No, I've lost myself now.
That's all good.
It's one of those time points that didn't happen there.
Do you know what? 6 months ago, covering games was actually a lot easier than it is now, because there is untold amount of games coming out all the time, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, and I'm having to be a bit more pickier now with what I do, and also it's got to be something that I want to do as well. Like, as before, I would just play anything. As now, I'm like, dude, there's like 6-7 games in the backlog. Like, when do I get it on? And sometimes, when I'm in some of my chats and the guys go, "Oh, there's nothing coming out this week," everyone's like, "Whew," you know what I mean? Like, we can actually cover something, which is pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we wanted to bring up. Let me just make sure that I've got the trailer before I bring it up, because there'd be no point otherwise. Is Doctor Who: Edge of Time? Well, Lincoln, do you know anything about this game?
I've heard about it, but I don't really know anything about it.
Over to Nat then.
Yeah, well, the trailer, the brand new trailer dropped a few days ago. It's got gameplay in it. I've got to admit, when I initially heard about it, I mean, I've been switched off from Doctor Who for a while now. But I was watching some of the gameplay, and it actually looks really, really interesting. I think they've chosen some really good villains. The Daleks were shown in there, which you got to have if you're doing Doctor Who. Is it Weeping Angels are in there? I think that's going to be terrifying.
Yeah. They're what I'm looking forward to personally, the Weeping Angels.
Yeah. You're not actually the Doctor in this. The Doctor's kind of been taken to somewhere, and you've got to try and save her. But you are in the TARDIS. I think that's going to be I think it's going to be one of those Batman moments for anyone that's a Doctor Who fan, walking into the TARDIS, because suddenly you will have that size of the TARDIS open to you. So you have like the little phone box, and then you'll walk through the door, and it'll be, hey, this is the TARDIS that you've always heard about.
Yeah.
But you're actually in it. So I've got to admit, I'm a lot more excited after seeing the new trailer for it, and it's really cool that it's coming to multiple platforms. It will be coming to the Quest, will be coming to PlayStation VR, it will be coming to PC VR. So again, whoever's in the chat and is interested in the game, whatever your platform of choice is, you will be able to pick this up. The only thing is, initially, a bit like with Aspire 1, they said, hey, we're coming in September. They've now changed that to a coming soon. But I've got to say, with Aspire, and I think we're going to talk about that in a little bit anyway, I would prefer a developer to get the game right and for it to be delayed than for them to try and rush it out, try and make a few pounds and screw up the game. Because, to be honest, if you screw up the game, the likelihood is a lot of people ain't going to go back to it.
Yeah, I'm like Nat. I was contacted by the developer, and I think I literally done like a fanboy answer. He was like, "Oh, you interested in it?" I was like, "Hell yeah, man! I can't wait to check this out." I loved the experience before, and it was just an experience, wasn't it? In the TARDIS, you didn't get to move, you didn't really. But this looks like a full-fledged Doctor Who thing. This looks like the real deal, and yeah, I think it's going to be one of those surprise hits. You know, I think like people are not really talking about it, but there's obviously people out there very excited for it. And when I'm watching this trailer and we're talking about it, I'm like, actually, dude, this could be pretty big. This could be massive. Do you know what I mean? What about you, South? Are you a bit of a Doctor Who fan? You look like you could be.
Yeah, definitely. I love the whole sci-fi and fantasy mix of creation and all that time travel business. It's all, really good stories mixed in, and like you say, there's moments like the Weeping Angels could be really terrifying in VR. Let's face it. Anybody who's played there's a couple of games actually that did it. They did a moment in Blood and Truth there that was actually very much like the Weeping Angels with the dolls in the art, the gallery. They were on the point of being the Weeping Angels, where it's like, whoa. And I think that's going to be some great fun. Looking forward to seeing what characters we see in there. People obviously in the chat saying, is there going to be any Cybermen?
Yes.
Things like that. So
there probably will be a hint to some stuff. I reckon this is a labour of love. Do you know what I mean? From fans as well. It's not just, it looks like one of those games. You can't just be anyone who doesn't know anything about the lore of this. You
can't do anything that's Doctor Who without knowing something about the lore of that universe. Because if you get some of that wrong, or you don't invent it or reinvent it in the right way, you have a very dedicated team that's going to come down on you and go, "What are you playing at?"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's already got a dedicated following outside of gaming. And that's
I was about to say, everyone has their Doctor Who as well, because there's been so many Doctors. Like for me, my Doctor Who is Tom Baker. That is the Doctor that I grew up with as a child. He, as far as I'm concerned, he's my Doctor Who. So I was speaking to someone and they were going on about David Tennant is their Doctor Who. So it's great that it's cross-generational, that you could talk to your parents and they'll turn around and say William Hartnell was their Doctor Who, or something like that, or John Pertwee or something like that. So like I say, if you're a fan of Doctor Who, there is your Doctor, the Doctor that you grew up with. I mean, my aunt used to regale stories of me hiding behind the sofa at my nan's while Doctor Who was on when I was a little kid, because I was so terrified of the villains in the game. And she was telling people this when I was like 25 and 30. Oh, do you remember when you watched Doctor Who and you hid behind the sofa?
Nice.
But when you're a kid, you did hide. So there is that little bit for it. And as you said, GT, I got contacted by the dev, and they said they'll put me on a list and I might get a key. That'd be cool. But to be honest, if I don't get a key, I'm going to buy it anyway. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So just to jump back into the chat, Great Sanchin says, what's he put? Now it's dedicated service instead of host migration. Yeah. So let's go back to Solaris. You need both of them features are so important for a game like that. It's a nightmare in Firewall at the moment for things like that. It's good if you've got a private game or a solid group of 4 that don't leave. You're pretty much okay. As soon as anyone goes, oh, I've got to go to the toilet, or I've got to leave, or I've got to have dinner, that's it. Like, everyone's game can be ruined for quite some time, which is a bit of a shame. Ravi's got his answer. Guys, does anyone know the tracking frequency with the hand? Did we get the answer to that? I don't know the frequency personally.
No. Well, I think we're gonna pull that in with the OC6 stuff, really.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get that sorted. What someone wrote in there, man. Let's have a look. Let me just get through these comments. Quickly. Great Tangent says that updated the games have single player elements. Where was we? We was on Sorrento. Boy Brown. Sorrento on the Quest. Much updated, and I prefer it to the PSVR version. See, I was the opposite. So I've definitely got to check it out now because I thought the Quest was last on the list. Do you know what I mean? That was the lowest version for me at the time. So that's interesting to read. Where are we now?
Someone's asking if I have a microwave on a trolley in the background so I can wheel my food right in front of me.
You haven't, yeah? Hard to get.
Yes,
How's it going?
do. So yes, the kitchen is directly behind me.
No, yeah, that's right. Hard to get. He's absolutely right. Who answered that? Boy Brown. Yeah, there isn't a. I haven't noticed there's not a campaign mode as such, is there, in Sorrento on Quest? It's more just like a. What's the word? Just a PvE scenario, isn't it? Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot cut down from. It's dedicated as well. It's its own content. It's not the same as the content from the PSVR or the PC version. The PSVR and the PC version, they actually have the same type of thing there. Right. But the the Quest version is completely different.
Cool. DJ, how you doing, dude? Mark Ledson, nice. Thanks for joining us. As someone said earlier, we've got a lot of new people again this week, which is pretty cool. Drew, I'm pretty sure I said hello to you. How you doing, man? Nice. Right, I think we are. The Quest train is full flow. All aboard. Nice. Yeah, man. Yeah. We're gonna get to that. That was pretty crazy. So a game that I haven't personally checked out yet is coming to PSVR. I think it's coming to PSVR next week. I have already got it, but I haven't checked it out. Is Carly and the Reaper Man. What do you guys know about this game so far? I personally watched God Cannon play some of it, and I thought it actually looked really, really good. So,
well, it was initially on PC. It was a couch co-op, VR and flat screen couch co-op, local only couch co-op for PC.
That's a killer of VR games, really, isn't it? Sometimes at the moment.
It is, because that also made it as a VR game for a PC really killer in terms of how many dedicated VR PC gamers do you think are going to be set up to do couch co-op in the first place?
Yeah.
So really killed it, but the reports of the game was it was really good and looked good fun, and it looked really smart, and it's a game that I did want to play, but for me it's a game that I want to play with someone else playing a flat screen version while I'm playing a VR part.
Yeah.
Or I'll play the flat screen version of someone else who's playing the VR part.
Mm-hmm.
And much like you did with your Acon thing the other week, where you're in VR doing that and you've got somebody else playing a mobile version or something else like that.
Yeah,
that's what I'd love to see for Carly and the Reaper Man, because
nice.
I like the idea of the collaboration. I think it's if done right, and from way back when, all the reviews of Carly and the Reaper Man said they got the collaboration side of this down right. It felt good. It was good fun. But that's what I'd like to see on that. But I don't know if that's going to be the case with PSVR or not.
One of the things.
Sorry, can I just jump in here? Because in the chat, get to the chopper. He's played it on PSVR. So you might want to have a quick look at his chat, because he's actually mentioned some issues that the game has.
Oh, to do with the lighting or whatever it was. Is that what it is?
Well, he's saying that some issues thanks to light bar tracking, dual shock only control, and stuff like that. So he's saying the devs are definitely aware of it. It might be a case, unfortunately, because I was a bit like this Salza. I really like the look of this game. I love the art style of this game.
Yeah.
The issue I've got is obviously with trying to play with someone else. That's stopped me from playing some of the VR games that I've wanted to play. But yeah, it might be a case that I'll just sit on this one for a little bit.
This one is now, though, Carly is now AI, though, isn't she?
It is on the PSVR. I think that's what you said. Was that right, Salsa? Is AI on PSVR?
I don't know on that. I don't know the details of the PSVR version.
I'm pretty sure. If you will ask her, get to the chopper.
Also do a local couch co-op or I would still like to have somebody else be able to do the flat screen as well, because it is good when you can do these co-op moments. But obviously, if you can't, having Carly played as AI would also be helpful.
Nice. Have you seen this one? Have you seen this one? That one of my so this is from JD46. One of my funny memories as a kid was hiding behind my chair from Daleks as a kid. My parents took me to a Doctor Who exhibition. I ran up to a Dalek and it moved, so I ran away and refused to go back. So he probably thought, right, I'm the daddy now. You're just a statue. Let's have it. The Dalek's gone. What are you looking at? And he's like, I'm out of there, man. Oh, that is.
I've been to anywhere on the charity events, so I think I've the most Daleks I've seen actually moving at the same time as about 8 Daleks, all coming in together and doing. Yeah, it was really cool, and all of them speaking and doing all the different things at the same time. It was really, really good thing. It happens a lot actually at different events throughout the UK. Nice. Where you have Daleks going around for some different charity events, and they'll have a donation bucket on the stalk of their lasers or their little visiony things, their eyes.
Yeah, do you know, I've never found Daleks scary. I don't know why. Like, I haven't really found any of the characters scary, to be fair, but I know they can be because my son, he must have been about, I don't know, 6 or something when the Weeping Angels first appeared. And I'm just sitting there watching it, like, not thinking nothing of it. And he's like, oh my God. I'm like, oh yeah, they're pretty scary, actually. Do you know what I mean? Like, I actually thought, oh, it ain't scary at all. And then my fatherly instincts kicked in. I was like, oh, maybe I should turn this off, actually. Oh, look, it's bedtime. Do you know what I mean? And the Weeping Angels were in his head for a bloody couple of weeks. So yeah, I messed that one up as a dad. I didn't even, honestly, never occurred to me. So get to the chopper. Or get to the chopper. He's a
classic. He's fallen for the old just find some stairs thing with the Daleks, and we all know that doesn't work.
Why didn't it work? Can they float?
They can fly.
Leave off. The Daleks can fly.
Haven't you seen related Doctor Who's where the Daleks can hover and fly? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Yeah. All right, fair enough.
This Carly and the Reaper. I didn't even know anything about this game, but after looking at this trailer, I think it'll do all right on PlayStation VR, given the success of Astrobot and Moss.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
It's definitely one I need to jump on. I've got it already. I just haven't got round to it because yesterday I just had such an urge to play Resident Evil all day. I was like, dude, I've got to play it. Mrs. GC wasn't happy because it went from being like I said I'd be like an hour, and I ended up being 4 hours as normal. Get to the Chopper says, you control both the skull with the light tracking and the triggers, and Kylie's controlled by the analog stick and the buttons on a single player. That's pretty cool. I think that makes real sense.
Okay, that is quite.
That's good. I like the sound of that.
That is kind of Moss sounding, but I would like say, still to have that co-op option as well. But there you go.
The gargoyles in Dreadhalls are like the Weeping Angels. They are Cornerstone. You are bang on. They are terrifying. Ravi was talking about checking out Dreadhalls. It is a very scary game. Honestly, I think it's really scary. I'm not sure why that game. It's weird because graphically it's not amazing, and to be fair, like the animations of the creatures aren't spot on. But there's just something really dreadfully scary about that game. The sounds and the lighting, just, I don't know, man. It does me every time. And it's one of those streams I won't watch back at myself, that's for sure. So, where are we now? Let's look at... The other thing I wanted to put on here was Facebook Horizon, but we'll get to that in a little while. Where am I now? What was the other one we was going to talk about? There was something else.
LA Noire.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I didn't bring it in. So, LA Noire, I haven't unfortunately downloaded a trailer for LA Noire. I do apologise. So, yeah, if you want to talk about that, guys, I personally haven't played it yet. I'm still yet to get it. You haven't played it?
Well, I mean, it's really cool that it got announced and it dropped that day. We knew it was coming because there'd been loads of reveals on the PEGI and ESRB ratings board, so we knew it was definitely coming. I think Salsa has said in the past, or before the show started, it was actually quite a bit of a surprise for that coming over from PC VR over to PlayStation VR, and there are meant to be some issues with it. Now, I haven't brought LA Noire the VR case files, and I will buy it, but I have two reasons why I haven't done that. The first one is the actual original game, LA Noire. I hate the ending of that game so much. Forget Mass Effect 3. I think the ending of LA Noire is even worse than the Mass Effect 3 ending. For me personally, it is anyway. So that's coloured my perception of the game anyway, even though I understand it's only 7 missions in the actual... from the actual original game that have been redeveloped for VR. The second one and the most important one is the price. It's $24.99, which for some people will be like, well, what difference does it make? For me, it's too high for what it is.
As in what? When you say what it is, I mean, what is the length of the gameplay?
That's, well, like I say, you're looking at 7 missions, so maybe you're most probably looking at, I would have thought, 3 to 5 hours possibly. It just feels like it's a little bit too high for me. Now, you can get 25% off if you own LA Noire on the PS4, because you can go through the PS4 LA Noire menu, and there's a link, and it gets you 25% off.
Oh, nice.
If it had been 20, and I know it's only some people say, well, it's only £5. Well, it is £5, and I've got to be careful with my money. If it had been 20, I'd have most probably gone for it. And I've said in the past, a lot of times on my show, I've had sort of people say to me, oh, I really like the look of the game, but it's a little bit too expensive. And I've been very upfront with people and said, listen, if you look at the game and you see the price and you're just like, it's a little bit too much. Space Junkies is definitely one that comes to mind, where it's just way too much at price. Wait, there will be a sale at some point. Buy the game. If you want the game, but you're looking at it, it's a little bit too much, wait. There will be a sale. The game isn't going to go anywhere because it's a single-player game. It isn't like it's a multiplayer game, and so you got that fear of missing out thing that you might have. Wait until it hits a price that you're happy with, and then buy it. I had a lot of people that have brought Moss because I was very enthusiastic about my love of Moss. I thought it was a great game, and a lot of people saying, I like the look of it. It's too much for me. But then they bought it when it was on sale and just like, yes, I absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't think people should have that fear of missing out mentality. There's too much of it, in my opinion, not just on VR gaming, but in gaming in general. That if you don't get into this game from the first point, you're missing out. Well, possibly in a multiplayer game you might do, but I think in a single player game, no, because the single player game is always going to be there. So. I always say to people, and people in the chat, listen, if you like the look of the game, but you look at the price and you're just like, it's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much of what I want to pay. Wait and pick it up on sale because it will always be there. Once the game's out, it's out. So, but that's just my opinion on it. But I will get LA Noire VR case files because I do want to try it. I know there's maybe a few issues with it, but I want to see what it plays like. And like I say, I'll just wait until it's a price I'm willing to pay.
Yeah, so Boy Brown says LA Noire, he's just overpriced by a tenner for him, so that's what you're saying, basically. It's £10 out of his, I'm going to pick that up just on a whim. Do you know what I mean? Get to the Chopper says, I think LA Noire is bloody brilliant from what I played so far. Christopher Hart says LA Noire PSVR should have got more missions, and he says it looks excellent. How much is the Flash version? Cornerstone, I have no idea. Where are we now? Hard to get says there are only 4 real cases. The first 3 are small, uninteresting tutorials. Okay, TGK says he's got it, but he's yet to actually play it. And DJ says, I thought the price point was good on that one. So I thought the price point was good on that one. So yeah, I mean it's a bit all over the place there, isn't it?
It's a bit of an Ace Combat 7 syndrome, where he wanted the full game.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that price makes me a little bit apprehensive. Plus, it seemed like I heard, that the PC version of the game had problems. So that plus a $30 price tag, it's got me hesitant. So yes, I plan to wait until it goes on sale, or I might even see if I can find it on G2A.
Yeah, so talking about low prices stuff, let's quickly talk about the Arizona Sunshine Dam DLC, which is coming out on the 3rd. And I think this is actually really cheap. Is this like $4.99 or $2.99 for this DLC?
But no, it's, the Dead Man DLC was $2.99. This is going to be $5, £5, €5. But yes, the Damned Saturday Dam. Yahoo!
I can't wait for that, man. Yeah.
I cannot wait. I love Arizona Sunshine. I don't know why it gets so much hate. I really don't. It's so much. In co-op, I will say, I will add that caveat to it. In co-op, it is an amazing, fun game. In single player, not so much. Co-op, find someone that you can play that game with, because you will have so much fun. Initially, you will have so much fun laughing at the way you're walking, because that is hilarious. But after that, you'll just have fun because of the gameplay, because it is a really fun shooter.
I thought they improved Arizona a lot from launch, because I am a sucker for a zombie shooter. Yeah, I really am. I see a zombie shooter and I'm like, dude, I'm going to play it straight away. Whatever it is, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get it. And Arizona was one of the games on PSVR, actually probably the game I was most angry about when I bought it. I think it was £35. And I was like, what is this crap? Like, this looks awful. There was no sights on the guns, or like, there was just see-through bits of metal. It was blurry. It was just like, you wanted £35 for this? It might have been
40.
closer to the 40. Whatever it was, yeah. I was just like, nah, man, this ain't right, and I was really angry about it at the time. But then they added a pro patch, and like Nat said, I played it in co-op, and funny enough, I think they added the aim control a little while later as well, two-handed weapons, and I was like, actually, this game is fantastic, and I had a great time.
The aim was in there from the get-go, because that was the bit
that was
broken about it. Yeah, because I played it with the aim controller when it launched, and when you put the controller up literally like that, because obviously it then got in the way of the PSVR headset, the gun was like that.
Oh, okay.
You could think, you were like, hey, I'm going over here and I'm going over here and stuff like that. They screwed up on the implementation of the aim control. But I agree with you that when it launched, and I was exactly the same boat as you. I was peed off, and I've done this before in games. I'm just like, I'm not playing your game anymore. I'm sick of it. And then AWOL Soldier, who I haven't heard from for a while. I hope he's okay, because I say I love that guy. He contacted me and he goes, I want to play some co-op with Arizona Sunshine with you. I was like, really? It's really improved. And I was just like, okay, because I'd only tried to play it single player. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give it another chance. Yeah. There was a huge patch because obviously I played the game a while. There was a huge patch to put it in, and I had so much fun. And I think some of that was because I was playing it co-op with AWOL. Yeah. And if the stream is up there, you can listen to it. You can hear us having fun with it. But they had improved the game as well. And like I say, it literally went from a game that I detested and hated because they really screwed it up and they wanted a very high price for it. Yeah. To a game that, you know what, it's a ton of fun. It's really enjoyable. And now I'm actually waiting for the Oculus Quest version, because I want to play it on Oculus Quest and I want to play it with people on the Oculus Quest.
Have they said if the DLC's coming straight out or not?
They haven't, not for the Quest version.
I escaped. In my case, I escaped because you're right, that it was pretty high. It was $40 here when it launched. And I did not, based on what I saw, I did not see enough to justify paying $40 for this game. And they would not drop that price for the longest. In my case, I dodged the bullet because I was able to get it from the PlayStation Store for $13 with, I think it had DLC added as well. So
nice.
And I do think it's a good game, but I still wouldn't have paid $40 for it. But I think I'll give them a little bit of love back, and I'll go ahead and pay the $5 for this DLC. I think that's something that it would be more reward than risk. I don't have a problem paying $5 for DLC or something like that, but that $40 was pretty steep.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to go to the comments. It made me laugh. Dark said, "I'm sure I paid $29.99 for VR carts." God, what was I thinking?
I remember that. I remember that.
$29.99.
That game was a ghost town. I believe if we're talking about the same VR carts or touring carts or whatever it was, I bought one of those games.
VR carts, well, I think was the first one of the first.
About a year ago. And I bought that game more or less for my son because my son's a big Mario fan with the Mario Kart games and stuff, and went and tried it, and the game was a ghost town. Nobody was there.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like the whole thing was as well that it was on PC VR, and it was a tenner. Full price was a tenner, and it had gone on sale and stuff as well at different points on PC. And they release at 30 quid. And actually, I think it was $10, not even £10, $10.
Yeah.
On Steam. And they released at 30 quid on PSVR. It's like,
yeah,
and people slamming it for being crap on PC. So it was sort of like, oh my good God, no.
Blaster Master. That looks like Flat Eric in his profile picture, which is a great song. And he just return it. Just get rid of it. Cornerstone says, my biggest VR regret is that VR concert thing by Sega, where you have to wave your hands in the air. Does anyone know what that is?
Hakuna Mika or something like that. I know the one he means.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what it is, but
the new version that's just out, which is not the same game.
Right.
So you've got the original, which is literally you at a concert doing what the Japanese do, which is wave a light thing in the hand 2 times, and that's just it.
Oh, nice. Do you know what I've just found?
Rhythm game. It's a proper rhythm game.
I've just found this bag.
After the fall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I forgot about that I got this. So while we're talking about Vertigo games, we might as well talk about their next game, which has now been announced as coming to PlayStation VR as well, which I did play at Gamescom, same as I actually played some of the DLC from Arizona. But this was actually really, really good fun. I believe it's 4-player co-op, the whole game, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it was great graphics, and I'm just really pleased that it's coming to PlayStation VR because it should. Do you know what I mean? Games like this should do. I mean, if they can get Arizona running really well, and I think Arizona looks great. Like I can jump into PC VR because I've already got the DLC to play on the 3rd. I've got it on PC. The graphics are better, but they're not amazingly better. Do you know what I mean? And I think Vertigo have really got that down on their games from PlayStation VR to PC VR. So yeah, are you guys looking forward to this one or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That looks good.
It is good, man. Yeah, it's that's why I thought we brought it up. No one's really talking about it for some reason, but
and I am all about those graphics. So
I got my Blaster Master. I've got the thing on. I've got the thing from Gamescom. That was awesome. I love that. So yeah, excellent stuff. But yeah, I can't wait for that game. I'm so glad that more people are going to experience it. The only feedback was it was a bit arcadey. Like they were saying, the animations, when we went to reload our guns, it was just press a button and it reloaded. And I think me and Mike both agreed that it would have been better to go get the clip, whatever. Even a little animation like that is put the clip in. It seems strange that in virtual reality that needs to matter, or you miss that. As obviously in a flat game, that would never occur to you because you've never done it in your life, have you? You press the reload button. And its jobs are good. And Gears was the only game for me that made reloading actually part of a game where you could do the quick reload thing. I absolutely loved that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, the active reload. I believe that's what they call it.
Yeah,
and
man.
You're absolutely right about the immersion of like games like Pavlov and Contractors and stuff where you physically have to drop that clip out of the gun, reach down to your belt, and pop another clip in there, and then like pull that slide back or whatever before you can start shooting.
Yeah.
I would love to see games like that uses that type of interaction on PlayStation VR.
Yeah, nice.
Well, it works harder because you'd have to have move controllers and then you lose the analog stick. So I'm hoping this game supports the aim controller.
I mean, Space Junkies is kind of in that direction because you can grab guns from your hip on Space Junkies.
But in terms of movement, you've got the issue that you still haven't got the analog sticks, which you do on the PC. So
True.
That's always. I mean, the easiest game I've always brought up, and sometimes I'll get a little bit of a knock on it, is Killing Floor Incursion, which is a game I really want to play. And I get that people said it's got the best move implementation on a game. I've tried to play that game. I want to enjoy that game. I really do. I can't get over the controls. They do my nutting. They really. I haven't finished the game because I can't get over the controls. I really can't. So, like, my dream at the moment is that Tripwire Entertainment turn around and say, "Guess what, guys? We're bringing Killing Floor Incursion to the Oculus Quest." Because I just cannot get over not having analog sticks. The movement, for people that are fine with movement, for me, I cannot get over the movement system and the reloading and everything else. It's just like you're giving me too much to do. If you gave me a goddamn, and obviously this is nothing to do with the developer, this is down to Sony. Give me a goddamn analog stick so I can move with an analog stick. Sony have made such a misstep. What they did with the Move is amazing, don't get me wrong. For 10-year-old tech, it's pretty amazing. But it's like...
But you're not paying 10-year-old tech prices for them things.
No. And like I say, look, for Killing Floor Incursion, I'll give it 10 out of 10 for absolutely everything. And as I say, I'm not knocking any points off for the developer. They've done the best that they can with what Sony have given them. But the control system for me doesn't work. I can't do the control system in that game. So I'm not knocking the game because everything about it looks 10 out of 10. It looks like a game I'd enjoy, I'd love, but I cannot handle the control system in that game. It does my nutting. And it's just like at one point, I just got to a point, I was just like, the most important thing for me has always been fun. And I wasn't having fun because of the controls. And I was just like, you know what? I ain't having fun. I ain't playing it.
Yeah.
So, but that's just me. But like I say, if they bring it to Quest, hell yeah. But might not need to bring it to Quest because we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. So next up, let's talk quickly about the Beat Saber Panic at the Disco pack. When does this come in? Someone said earlier. Was it
next
this
week?
Yep.
Oh,
Next week.
Nice.
Yes. And I am looking forward to that because I am the old buzzard out of this crew. You know, I'm 52 years old. I love disco music.
You look a day over 20,
at least that's what I'm hoping we're going to get. I'm hoping we're going to get disco music. And because of that, I'm really, really, really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
It's Panic at the Disco, mate.
Yeah, Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, but isn't they a rock band?
Yeah. What's happened?
Then I could be completely off then. I could be completely off of
He
what
thought it was disco music.
Oh,
I thought that DLC meant we were
he
gonna
did
get
just
disco
say he's the
music.
oldest one out of the crew. He's got it all wrong, isn't he? What's this on? DVD or what is it? Cassette? I don't know.
No, it's called Betamax. Called a Betamax.
Betamax, yeah.
Sorry, Link.
Yeah, I see Dirk Fetter said it, he heard despite the title, it's not disco music at all. But it doesn't matter. I'm still going to play it.
It'd be there, mate. It'd be on his Zimmer frame, playing a bit of Beat Saber. Be awesome.
But it is a bit of a break from the music that is typically at the moment all the licensed music for Beat Saber, which is all very much the same genre. It's all very much more Dance Revolution type of music. A lot of people, that's what actually stops them getting into Beat Saber, unless you're on the PC side, where you've got some custom tracks where you can get enough variety of song types. You can get different variety of music in there.
All right. Boy Brown said he's on with you, Lincoln. I thought at first, Lincoln, no, it's a bloody group. He thought it was disco music as well. Everyone be like that with the Beat Sabers, do you know what I mean? Just doing a swim and that. Nah, man. It's something completely different. Also, I haven't got a video on it, but in the tweets the other day, Beat Saber has said that Beat Saber 360 mode will be coming to the PSVR, but not as the 360 mode, as you know, because of the tracking. It's going to be more like, I think we agreed on a 120, lads, did we?
120, because the occlusion from the cameras, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
December, I believe they said it's coming for 360 mode for the Quest.
Excellent, and you know, I can't wait for people to experience that. I think that'll bring a whole new level to just Beat Saber, even because, as I said, I played the 360 mode, and it actually just felt like you was more like a 160 mainly. You know, you're sort of chopping this way to that way. Even though now and again you went sort of round 360, it was mostly in this area. So, and it made it great. It was a great addition to the game, and
you guys see the custom track that was made on the Quest version, where it was about a 60-meter long.
Oh yeah, and the guy was running.
Yeah, you have to run.
Yeah.
To keep with it. It was sort of like however many tracks wide, so that you literally had to run about a 60-meter area.
Yeah, for sure.
Brutal.
Yeah,
Nuts.
man, that'd be crazy. So let's what else should we talk about quickly? Let's jump into Asgard's Wrath, because as much as I love the look of this game, these guys know something about this that I don't, which is the size of the game, and I'll let them take
I'll let Celso answer this one, or Lincoln, man.
Well, it's a bit of a download. Let's just put it this way: if you've got some banana electric, whatever wind up internet, you're gonna have problems downloading it because it's 121 gig.
Holy smokes! And that changed a lot for me, because I had heard that the game was like 25, like 40 hours even. That's still a huge file. That's a lot of playtime for a VR title. And then Salsa threw that in, that it was 121 gigs.
20 gigs.
And the biggest file that I had downloaded before hearing about this, I think, was Lone Echo, which I think might have been about 19 gigs. This is crazy. But I'm probably going to have to buy an external for this, because my Alienware only has a 1 terabyte hard drive, and I think I only have about maybe 100 gigs left on my hard drive. So I'm going to have to go get an external for this, because I am going to get this game.
I'm very excited for this one.
The dev turned around and said it's all to do with the textures. This game is supposed to have the best textures
of
any VR game.
It looks absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
Is it Sanzaru? Is it? Are they the
Yeah.
Yeah. And the great thing about us being all investors in VR in these early days is the developers are all reachable. These guys are on Discord. If you just want to go to their website, jump in Discord, and you can talk to them today about this game if you want to know any information. And you can find out about most games, to be fair. It's just the developers are out there waiting for contact. And Sanzaru, I've been speaking to. So, yeah, man, definitely get out there. Dirk Feder, what's he got there? I think after the recent updates to tracking in Beat Saber is spot on. I found, actually, if I played the Oculus Quest version for longer than like 20 minutes, I was getting some frame stutter now and again. This is back in the day, or it like miss a thing, and I'll be like, man, I hit that block, but it was like the Saber didn't actually do anything. As recently I played it, and I didn't have any of those issues at all. So I don't know if you guys have ever found that with the Quest version at all.
I don't own it on Quest. I've got it on PlayStation.
I've played on PC VR. You get slowdown issues and frame jitter stuff if your CPU is not up to it. It's not the graphics card side.
Yeah.
It's CPU heavy, which is the bit of a problem. So there you go.
This does look good though.
Oh mate, it looks fantastic.
And the reports is that they have really nailed the melee combat in this. Is supposed to be amazingly good and feel really good. I like the concept of the storyline for this game of you've got to prove yourself as a god, and you're like big god, go to little god type thing. You've got creatures to create. You've got a whole MMO feel thing to this entire thing, and then you've got that visceral I'm going to block this sword, do the whole melee combat thing going on. So and then with the graphics of it just looks nuts.
Well,
Talk-
this is the game that Oculus demonstrated the thing that we'll be talking about very, very soon. This was the game that everybody tried with the thing that we're going to be talking about. So that gives you some idea how much faith they have in this game, but also how much they want to push the special event, shall we say?
Yes.
I can't wait.
They do.
I can't.
They had 2 different games they were trying. Yeah, Asgard was the main one that most people went for, apparently.
I was going to add to that I absolutely can't wait to see those giants and the size that they actually meant for you to see them.
Mhm.
I think that's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
I agree. And not long to wait.
So Matt says, when do you think we will get a quality? I think Marjanovic, he's a developer. I'm pretty sure he is. I recognise that name. When do you think we will get a quality headset like the Index? So that is, I assume he's not talking about quality build as well, but maybe FOV as well, which he's got because he's got the biggest one. Quality headset like the Index with the 6 degrees of freedom, the Quest, and the comfortability of PSVR. And I agree with Honosuni. Yeah, I was thinking HTC Cosmos when he said that. I've yet to try it, but that is the one that popped into my head as well. All right, Santos, how's it going, man? You all right? Yeah. So that's the. What about you guys? I mean, that's quite an
Possibly
interesting.
PSVR 2. We got no information about it, but why not?
Yeah, I mean the Rift S is very comfortable.
I think comfort is a difficult question to answer as well, because there are some variables there with your head size, whether you're a glasses wearer or not, and different things like that. That all makes a big difference to what your comfort levels are going to be like, and it's definitely something that I will have to talk about in terms of levels with when we get to a certain other topic.
Yeah, all coming up. There's so much coming around one particular topic very soon. Not too long, guys. Next up, let's talk about Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Because for me, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if I put the right video up. I actually put up my video, funny enough. Lincoln, go on, talk about it, man. Let's talk about this. Go for it.
It's not so much about this game. The reason why I'm excited about it is because people who've been following my videos and my streams and stuff know that I want VR to go to the mainstream. And I felt like the way it would go down is the more VR starts to grow, then that will pull AAA developers in, and we will eventually get games like Call of Duty and Battlefield in VR. But Oculus isn't waiting for mainstream to jump on board with this. They're making it happen right now. So I think Medal of Honor is huge. And I think if you know the history of these first-person shooter games, Medal of Honor was the marquee game before Call of Duty. That was the main game. The first time I ever played it was on the OG Xbox, where you had the split screen. And I would have friends over, and we would play for hours off of that 4-way split screen. So I'm really excited about this game, coming to VR. It's that fast-paced first-person shooter that I think people are going to want, because there's no doubt in my mind games like Call of Duty. For people who say that they're not ready for VR yet or something, if you tell them Call of Duty is in VR, that's going to, perk their ears up. I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
And now we're about to get a taste of it. So I think this is amazing.
Honor and Duty, it's another title like that, like you're saying, Call of Duty, Honor. It's one of those Medal of Honor. It's one of those that people will go, oh, what? Medal of Honor is VR? What? That's the same thing, where it's sort of like, so this is really happening then. There will be some people that will mark things like if Duty came along, people would go, okay, so VR is really happening then. And that's what they will see as the start of things. And you're like, no, that's not the start of it. This is a big, big deal. And it looks like a full-blown experience.
Someone told me this is the first game remade in virtual reality. I've just read that comment. I don't know if that's true, or does anyone know that?
Well, no, this is a brand new experience because you're playing as an OSS agent,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the big thing about this is twofold. First of all, it's Respawn. We know the quality of game they make, so that's all. The second thing, and you got to remember, this was announced 2 years ago before EA bought Respawn. EA trusted Respawn enough that they were willing to give them the Medal of Honor franchise. Admittedly, it was dead. EA had screwed it up, but they were willing to give the Medal of Honor franchise. And as Salsa says, and as Lincoln said, that was the premier FPS World War II sim before anything else came along. People bought into Medal of Honor. To be given Medal of Honor, that's a big thing on Respawn's thing. And I think that you've got the Medal of Honor franchise, you've got the Respawn coming together. And as Salsa says, that is going to get people to pay attention. People that didn't give a rat's about VR will pay attention to this. And obviously the topic that we're going to be talking about later on, that this changes everything. It really does, both in terms of the game that they're putting out, because I think this will be the highest profile game.
I'm going to go put my two cents in here. How much later are we going to think of? Because what we're going to be here is probably until midnight if we don't get to that subject quite soon.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Can I add this real quick before we move on? With this Medal of Honor, to me, it doesn't matter to me whether they're building this game from the ground up or whether they're taking assets from previous games and converting it over to VR. We do know that because of say PlayStation VR, for instance, because of the limitations, we're not going to see current gen games in VR. So I had always felt like taking last gen games and converting them into VR, like Skyrim, like Doom. And converting those games into VR, that would get us through until next generation when we can get some current gen games built from the ground up for VR. So, Medal of Honor coming to VR is amazing in more ways than one.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Buck says he still wanted Titanfall. I would have loved it if it was Titanfall as much as I loved it when I heard about this, to be honest. So, but then we heard quite early on, wasn't it? It wasn't going to be Titanfall. A lot of people said it wasn't going to be Titanfall. Moving on then, let's talk.
People asking if there was a release date, which I don't believe there is yet.
No, this is 2020. And also it's just, obviously, regardless of the Oculus Link cable, at the moment, this is a Oculus Rift game. It's not an Oculus Quest game. So it's a PC VR game. You're going to it's not mobile. It's not wireless. Let's quickly talk about Pistol Whipped. Just some of the impressions. This seems to be the game from the guys who went to OC6. This is their game of choice of what they played. They were all blown away by it. Like Rowdy Guy, Mike, Nathy, everyone, as far as I know, was from F Reality, this game. I think he's watched a show at the weekend, but just messaging him, this is the game. So, that's great to hear because it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super psyched for it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first because I heard it was a rhythm game. So I'm like, okay, how many different twists of Beat Saber are we going to get, But after looking at this trailer, I do like the part where it looked like he, clubbed one of those characters over the head and just broke him in pieces.
Yeah.
That got my eye. So yes, now I am curious about this game. So I'm hearing this a shooter rhythm game.
It reminds me of Super Hot and John Wick and just a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
altogether.
Saying it's sort of like Super Hot mashed with Beat Saber mashed with John Wick and just scrunched together in a little thing. Now, as far as we can tell, you don't actually have to do the strict rhythm game thing of you have to be here on this beat or this beat or this beat. But they've worked some odd type of different magic with the rhythms and stuff to make it work well in sort of timing.
Well, they've called it an FPS shooter with rhythm elements. So.
That trailer looks so fun that I'm thinking about putting on a sport coat if I do a stream for that game, just so I can feel like a British agent.
Do you know what I like the look of this about? It looks like a game that's got a lot of replayability. and that's important to me. Like Superhot did as well for me. I actually didn't find Superhot that easy. I could play it now and I could complete it in like half an hour, but that's because I know what's happening. But to this, it looks like you're going to want to chase them high scores, you know. And the blue guy, you know, the blue guy sold it to me straight away. You know, I've never seen someone with blue hair. And, no, you need to dye your hair and beard. That'd be awesome. Can you go red, and then you and him would be like double dragon? Do you know what I mean?
I'll get sacked from work, so no, not really.
Oh, sorry, mate. Oh, no worries. Right, what we got in the chat? We got some comments in the chat. Christopher Hart. Yes, I'll definitely want Medal of Honor. That's good to hear. Ocular Quest Fun. He says, where was he? There was a comment earlier he wrote, and I've completely lost it. We haven't got a release date for it. Blastmaster Quest is getting link cables, so it'll be compatible. But Medal of Honor won't run in mobile mode. Yeah, excellent. That's good. Pistol was great. Hodosuri, I'm still not sold on the Quest link. The Oculus team admit it has downsides to artifacts. Still awesome to have the option for those who want to move onto PC gaming later. And that's what we're all here to do. And yourself, like, we're here to try this stuff and give our feedback on it. Unfortunately, I can't. I didn't go to OC6, which I wish I would have. But I did hear that it's still... early days. It's still a beta program, you know. So whatever reports they're getting now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the final product, as you know. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm Hot Jesus. John Wick meets Beat Saber. Nice. Blaster Master. It does have artifacts, but most people who reported didn't notice it. Nice. So yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like if it's in beta mode, you got to just take everything with a pinch of salt and go. It could get better. So that's what we're all relying on. Let's quickly talk about... Was there anything on Stormland apart from the awesome looking trailer? I don't think there was nothing really on
Just
Stormland.
the date.
Was there? October
November.
November.
No, Asgard's Wrath is October. Stormland is November the 14th.
Bloody hell, where are we going to... I don't know, I'm going to fill this stuff in. That's excellent stuff. So, next up is Facebook.
Well, Pistol Whip is November 7th as well, isn't it, Pistol Whip?
Sweet. Mm-hmm. I've got so many
Not on
dates
PlayStation VR though. It's a later date for PlayStation
Yeah.
VR. But at least it's been confirmed that it will be coming to PlayStation VR, which I think is good news.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh, Darks is just what John Wick 3 because I want to watch that. Christ, that's one violent film. Excellent. So, Facebook, Horizon. Is this Ready Player One? Is this what we're waiting for? Is this the thing?
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's the Oculus version of Rec Room.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, it's the Oculus version of Rec Room. That's what I think of this. I think it's not what we need, per se. Cool that it's there, but Rec Room's already there, and VR Chat is already there, and there's a lot that's there already. What we actually do need is something that is like where you land in that straight away, where it's connected, where it's not an app that's launched as a separate thing. It's the actual start of your experience in VR. It's the oasis. It's when you put the headset on and you're immediately in that experience, where you can go like you did with when you first got like the Rift. You've had your home space and you've set up your games on the shelf and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, yeah. I'll never forget that.
The cartridge and stuff like that in. That is the type of experience we need, and this is not that.
But they have not called it Oculus Horizon. They've called it Facebook Horizon, which I thought was a bit interesting. I know Oculus is owned by Facebook, but very rarely is something just called something Facebook.
It's a social app. It's the social app side.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, if you're going to do this, why is it not the actual launch app? Why is it not the launcher? Why don't you have a home where you start and you can walk out into Horizons? Mm-hmm. Or Horizon, sorry. Not Horizons, it's Horizon.
Yeah. Sorry, Lincoln, you were going to say something?
No, I was going to say that, yes, there are a trillion social apps out there, as Salsa was alluding to. But I think this, just for the simple fact that it has the Facebook name attached to it, is going to bring us one step closer to what I think Facebook and Oculus's long-term vision is. One second. Hey, sorry about that.
No worries, man. Completely understand.
But I think that's going to bring us one step closer to Oculus's long-term vision. And I'll get to that when we get to that other subject, because that's going to blow the lid open when we get there.
I just want to say that obviously with Facebook Horizon, it's going to be launching in beta next year. So it's ever going to be an ever-evolving system. Now, I understand what Salesforce is saying about launching into it. I've got a feeling because it has the Facebook part attached to it, I think you're going to be given an option. You might not be given the option initially when the beta launches, but I think when it actually goes full system, you will have an option that you could go in to Facebook Horizon settings, and you can actually, like he said, actually launch into it, because it's, as GC pointed out, it's not Oculus Horizon, it's Facebook Horizon.
Yeah, man.
Facebook are going to want to make sure this is front and center, but they have to give you the option to opt out. I've got a feeling they're going to mandatory opt you in. So when you start up your Oculus Quest headset or your Oculus Rift headset, you will go into Horizon, and that will be your hub from where you can go. But you will have to have the option to opt out.
They would have to.
Going to be because there's going to be people out there that will be like, I don't want it. Now you might try it and decide I don't want it, but I think they're going to. I think at one point during the beta, they ain't going to give you an option. If you've signed up for the beta for this, and obviously, by the way, have you put the link in to the sign up page in the chat?
No,
you have to sign up if you want to be included into the beta.
Yeah.
For this, I think if you agree to sign up and you get put in, there will be maybe a month or 2 months where literally you ain't going to get any option and you will be in Horizon. It's just the way Facebook do their social stuff, but they're going to always have to have the option to sign up. But I do think it's coming. I do think.
Do you think you're going to have to have a Facebook profile?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's going to put people off sometimes.
It sounds to me like 7 Degrees, like you might be alluding to maybe this is something where when you fire it up, maybe you have a home. Maybe this could be like the new Oculus home, and then you can actually walk out of that home into the VR world and start socializing.
Yeah,
that's what I agree. That you should have a home, your bubble, if you like, where you load in and you can go, this is my bubble, I don't want to go outside of it. But you should be able to immediately step from that bubble and go, here's the social.
So in my head, I'm thinking on the Quest, you're going to get an app. Yeah, for now. People on the link are going to get Oculus Home, as we know. So that'd just be like PC VR, and what you get on there is Oculus Home, which is absolutely amazing. That'd be lovely if that was your bubble, and then you open the door to Horizon. Yeah. That would be the way forward to me. That's how I think.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that's what I think. Don't get rid of Oculus Home, Stu, because that is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll give it a try because Rec Room is cool, but this one looks like it could be a little more, I don't know if I want to use the word adult-oriented, but definitely more social.
I've just put a link in the chat, by the way, guys, to the beta, so anyone that wants to sign up for it, you can do it. You do actually have to give a couple of answers. You can just sign up on your Oculus account. You don't have to sign on your Facebook account, by the way. So I saw somebody saying, "Oh, you got to definitely have a Facebook account." I think maybe it'll go that way eventually, but they're giving you the option with this one saying that you can just sign up for the Oculus account. But there is a couple of questions about how you use social media and stuff like that. So I lied and said that I use it all the time. So.
Sweet. Robert Dodge says,
but I think it might be kind of cool that because I'd imagine with this being Facebook attached to it, I would imagine that maybe you're probably going to run into some of your Facebook friends sooner or later, because I'd imagine since you're going to tie your Facebook account into this, maybe there'll be a listing of how many of your Facebook friends have signed up for this, so you can, connect with them, so you guys can interact during this social app.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, right. It's a great tangent. The coolest thing you played in Rec Room is Super Mario 3D Land. Absolutely. That is fantastic. I met the guys who made that, and I've done a video with them because it just As soon as I saw it, I was like, wow. So let's quickly jump from Oculus back to PlayStation quickly and talk about State of Play. What are we saying about State of Play? Because I know Nat was pretty gutted about some announcements, or lack of. So.
Well, I'll quickly just run through what I've said previously, so to let the other guys get their 2 pen or 13. I got the amount of VR content that I expected.
Yep.
Because, and I said it before the show started to you guys, that the VR content in the first State of Play was brilliant for a VR enthusiast. For the majority of PlayStation fans, they didn't give a rat's. They were mad. And all you had to see is the comments. What the hell is all this VR content? So like I say, you do have to look at the big picture. When we had the second State of Play, there was no VR content. So that made the VR enthusiasts mad. Because it was just like, well, hold on, you showed us all this VR content and now you're not showing us any. So they kind of needed to find a middle ground. Now, you do have to take into account, supposedly, PS4 has sold 100 million units now.
Yeah.
It's their third console that's done that, which is unbelievable. But there's between 4 and 5 million users of PlayStation VR. It's a small thing. So the amount of VR content I was expecting. What I was disappointed with was not the amount of content. It was that the 3 big games that Sony have been pushing, Iron Man VR, Sniper Elite VR, and Gollum, no dates. If I'd have got 2 out of 3, I'd have been happy. But I was shocked that they didn't even mention those 3 games, and they're all meant to be coming out by the end of the year as well. So that was my issue with State of Play. By the way, Last of Us Part 2. Oh my God! I am so glad that I was able to go down to Game and order the collector's edition.
Nice.
Because you're going to go to bed with your wife. I'm going to go to bed with my collector's edition.
You know,
have they got like a one of the clicker faces you can take to bed with you?
I don't care. I'll go to bed with it.
Okay.
I'm going to love it so much.
Go, Lincoln.
State of Play, I think 7 Degrees might have spoken for all of us. I did not expect to see a lot of VR content, which I was fine with that. All I needed was a date for Iron Man VR and Golem. I totally forgot about Sniper Elite, but now that he mentioned it, yeah, that, throw that in there too. And we didn't get it. So with that being said, I was other than The Last of Us 2 getting a date, I was disappointed with it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's quite. Some of the comments are really funny. Does Gollum even exist? So that's another game we haven't spoken about. That game, I don't even know what's going on with that game.
Perp Games have got it. It's coming.
Perps has got it. It's coming as a physical release.
Okay, all right, sweet. Well, maybe you can answer some questions then, because we're going to try and get Ray from Perp Games on the channel in a couple of weeks for when Nat is doing something. I don't know what he's doing, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm still sorting it out with Ray, but I will be on the Perpcast, which is
nice.
I'm very honoured about that. That's really cool. It's going to be my first, separate from my own stuff and your stuff, where somebody's invited me. So, like I say, I want to thank Perp Games and Ray for the invitation. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure it'll get the worst ratings ever.
I'm sure it'll be fantastic, man. I'm sure it will be. State of Play for me, from my point of view, I thought it was okay. I agree with that. I think it was a percentage game where obviously you're just saying there's 100 million PS4 owners out there and there's possibly 10 million PSVR owners out there, I think. And that's what we got in the show, I felt, a little bit. It was around those percentages, roughly. Maybe a bit more in PSVR side. But yeah, that's how it's going to be, I reckon, from now on. I think that's the balance. I think you're going to get a good 5 minutes or 4 or 5 minutes out of the 20-minute, 25-minute show of VR content, because that's the only way to keep it fair for their consumer base. No one can really moan. They might moan. What they do is they might moan about what was on display and what was there, but they won't moan about what was all that VR crap. Because I remember it was the first one, wasn't it? Come out, all virtuality, and we were all like, "Woo, this is amazing!" And then the next one, there was no virtuality, and we were like, boo, this was rubbish. So, yeah, just trying to keep everyone,
Trying to keep people sweet.
Yeah, you know the one. Right, so, next up, let's talk about... What should we talk about? What should we do? Let's talk about Oculus Quest hand tracking quickly.
Oculus Quest hand tracking. Are we? So we're going to go for the hand tracking bit.
Let's go. You're going to pick up the leap motion thing, aren't you?
I am.
Okay.
Well,
Because
can I just say one thing about this? The thing that shocked me about that is there was no mention of the Rift. So is hand tracking actually going to come into the Rift? Because I would have assumed.
Do you mean the Rift
would.
S? Yeah?
Yeah. There was no mention of it at all. But can I also just say how everyone that turned around and said that the Oculus Quest had no power whatsoever. Can I just sort of say, guys, they have done hand and finger tracking on the Oculus Quest with a mobile processor. They're getting whatever dark magic, whatever deals they've made with the devil to do it. And from what I understand, people that tried it, it works. Yeah. It really, really works. It's unbelievable what they've managed to do. So I'm really excited, but I'm going to bail on this and I'm going to let you guys talk. Sorry.
I've got something here, of course. I don't know whoever else here has actually used anything on hand tracking.
No.
Okay, so for those who don't know, this here is a leap motion. So this has been around for a good couple of years, and I got this just to try this out. I actually hooked up my PSVR to a PC well back in the day when that was thought to be almost impossible, and had this leap motion working the finger tracking. And this is basically 2 IR cameras like you've got on the Quest, except for obviously the Quest have got 4. And it does the same sort of thing, except for this also has a depth sensor. Now, this does quite a good job. It's not 100%. Not 100%. I'm going to give it that. It has different moments where if you sort of do this, it gets confused. If you do bits like this, it gets confused. If you was to go like that, it would get confused. And the same will happen with the Quest. But what the Quest does is it's recognizing different shapes of hands and positions. So it's actually got a set number of frames that it's looking for. So it goes, here's a recognizable hand, and here's a pose. And it the different poses, and that's kind of like how they've figured out. So it could okay, he's going to the rock concert, you know. it's doing this, it's doing whatever, it's your hands are doing these type of gestures. So it's looking for set gestures, and it has set programs there.
Yeah.
What it does give you is something that is really great and immediate, and I do like it, is just being the freedom of using your hands. There's something special about that, especially for social apps. It really works well because you do gesture a lot in real life. What it doesn't give you is some of the tactile feels unless you do something like pushing your own hand or your own wrist or something else like that. Or these type of motions.
So, Will, I mean, that's the thing. We're talking about certain games, and it's coming up here. Hand tracking is Quest exclusive so far. You're right. I mean, everyone's talking about the Rift S being dead due to the cable we're going to be talking about later on. I haven't heard much people talk about the hand tracking not being involved with the Rift S. That was something we all picked up on clearly. That we're like, well,
I've heard people talking about it. I mean, this is a software solution, and I think that it may be to do with how the camera setup is actually involved, but I'm not sure why. I think it's something that maybe they could look at later, but they just pulled up straight away with the Quest. So I know it happened with the Vive. What's their standalone headset?
Who's that? Sorry, mate, I'm going through comments.
Have got a standalone
Focus.
The Focus.
You mean the Focus? Okay.
Yeah. So the Focus got hand tracking first, and then you got it on the Vive and the Vive Pro. I don't know if it'll be on the Cosmos. Oh yes, it will be on the Cosmos. So it may be a case of the same thing where they're trying it out here, and they could port it over as a software thing. I don't see any technical reason why it wouldn't be possible on the Rift S.
Well, it's got an extra camera as well, so
It's got an extra camera. It could be to do with convergence and coverage, but I don't see why it should be with conversion and coverage. But yeah, I do know on the PC, it was quite heavy on the processor. It was quite heavy on a processor, whereas how the Quest processes things may be slightly different. But they could still work out something software-wise.
So just to talk about the Cosmos does this as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
Hand
that's
tracking.
the same as the
With an
Vive
add-on.
and the Vive Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's certain games and experiences that will be fantastic for this. As Drew just said, he just come out of a great one. Is it Star Trek, Bridge Crew? Any game where you're in a seated position, hand tracking's fantastic. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
I think that'd be great as well. If you've heard of, I'm sure I know I've brought this up before, Tinker Pilot, which I'm desperate to get my hands on and try that game, which is, a space game where you can mark in where your real life controllers are. They've got models of your real life controllers, and you can use one of these for your hand tracking, and then you track your hands for things where you just want to pop menus or whatever. But then when you reach out your hands, you can see your hands going towards your controls in real life, grab hold of your controls, and it'll track your hand move, match them to where they are in real life, and your controllers to where they are in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You can build your own homemade controls that it will then track.
Yeah.
And so your hands can have your own custom-made controllers in the game and in real life. So you've got that whole mix between what's really here physically and what's in the virtual world. And the immersion side of that is a little bit mind-blowing, because what's more immersive than actually seeing your hand in real life in VR, as you know where your hand's position is, and actually reach out to something else that is in the real world and go, it's there, and I can see it's there, and I can see my hand is there, and I've grabbed it.
Well, I just want to bring up one point. I don't think they've designed the hand tracking and the finger tracking primarily for gaming. I think, just like with a lot of other stuff, gaming is the push. Facebook have one goal, and Zuckerberg said it a couple of years ago. He wants to get VR into 1 billion homes.
1 billion.
1 billion homes. There's two things I think the hand tracking has been designed specifically for. The first one is business, because it's just going to make so much sense with terms of business applications.
Oh, yeah.
The second one is because they've also hinted that the Oculus Go 2 will include hand tracking and finger tracking. I think they're going for granny.
They're doing a Go 2?
They've said that the Oculus Go 2, when they do it, because they've already said that it's going to be an ever-revolving system. Everything's always going to be backwards compatible, and they kind of hinted. They didn't confirm it, didn't come out right and say it, but they did quite a hint that hand tracking and finger tracking could be something they'd include in Oculus Go 2.
Right.
But think of an old person. If you try and get someone who's 60, 70 to get in VR, and you hand them controllers, they're literally going to hold the controllers and be like, what the F is this? What the hell do I do?
Well, that's what happened with the Wii.
Yeah.
That was the best thing about the Wii.
But think about it. You put on a Go headset, a Quest headset, whatever it is, and go to Granny. Granny, go into this house, and then you've got she's got hands. She hasn't got to learn anything.
No.
She understands what hands. Oh, Granny, just reach over there and grab those pictures off the shelf. Oh my God, that's amazing. This is, to be honest, I think this is actually more important than the VR Link, which we'll talk. Oculus Link. I think this is actually more of a breakthrough, because this is the thing that they can push out to the general public and say, we're going to show you something absolutely amazing. And Granny, who's 70, is just going to be blown away and understand it, because everyone gets their hands and fingers. So I think this is the first start on many steps to get to that 1 billion. I think Facebook have done something quite remarkable here.
Go for it, South.
I think it's also not just that side of it. I think it's mostly going to be it's actually the commercial realm, because for training in VR is picking up a big amount of steam. The commercial application of training in VR is definitely going to be a huge thing. And having that presence of hands and everything else like that for training purposes, that is definitely going to be one that sells it on more to the commercial aspect.
Yeah, you got
controllers.
You got to remember as well, they're talking about eye tracking and stuff in the future as well, and facial gestures. Like, who's to say, right? So everyone's talking about hand tracking, you can't move. That isn't true. You'll be able to possibly make a fist and then make a teleportation leap. You know, there's nothing to say that they won't come across with their own invention of, like, you make a fist, you point that way, that gives you your arc, and there you go. You're moving around the game.
Already, you can see what they're using as a select key, which is sort of like just doing the pinch.
Yeah, whatever it is, dude. Yeah.
As a click of the mouse type of thing.
What about if you're in hand tracking, right, and you put on some mechanical gloves, and on these gloves, like these armlets, these are buttons that you press to move around. You press that button, rockets come out your hands. You know what I mean? You fly around. Like,
Well, I think they covered this as well at OC6 with tactile. It's the thing of tactile, hands and tactile, rather than that. When you're talking about the pushing the buttons, I think the touch controllers do a fantastic job there. You don't need, when you hold game-wise, I think the controllers are brilliant. But for other experiences, there are great things where you can do the whole hand thing, but tactile senses more than anything else past that.
Yeah, and also I just think I find John Carmack, as you know, a lot of people were struggling to listen to him in Oculus venues for such a long time. I went in there, Paradise Decay, and fell asleep. I sat down and I looked around. I was like, yeah, some people here, some people. Oh, John Carmack, don't stop talking. I thought, why are you here? This guy can just talk forever. And I looked over there, and there was Paradise. I was like, Paradise. And he's like, just looking at nothing. And I was like, Paradise, because I thought, oh yeah, everyone can hear me in here. And then the guy next to him went, I think PD fell asleep. And I was like, oh, so that was the end of that. So yeah, he went in there to listen to John Carmack and he got put to sleep, bless him.
Well, I sent out a tweet about John Carmack. I turned around in my tweet and I said, I feel like when I listen to John Carmack, how chimpanzees feel when they look at people in the zoo, just completely clueless.
Yeah.
Because that guy is so, at a level that I cannot understand.
Yeah,
and the thing is, he must be just there going, how can I dumb it down enough for these people to understand me?
Yeah.
Because he just thinks on a completely different level. I got to admit, there's a lot of it, and it's just like, I know he's trying to dumb it down so I understand it, and it must just be so frustrating. I mean, it must be like, trying to train a chimpanzee to do something. That must be sort of like the thought, because as I say, what he's done for gaming and for computer programming and stuff like that, is remarkable. But I sent out for that.
I actually played some of his segment with Joe Rogan, talking to John Carmack, to my son, which I found fascinating, and he bloody understands it. He does science, physics. He wants to be a physics teacher, and he's like top level at maths. And he was like, he basically agreed with it. He went, yeah, and then he explained it, and I was like, yeah, mate, you're too clever. Keep washing up, do the washing up, get on with the chores. So next up, let's go with the. So hold on, 1 minute, Lincoln. What do you want to talk about the hand tracking, dude? Because I've noticed you've we probably haven't given you a chance to speak. If we haven't, I apologise.
It's no problem, because the conversation was pretty good. I really don't have a lot to say about it because I think it's amazing, but unfortunately, short term, I can't really get excited about it because once we start to see apps, they're going to be demos. Probably if you picking up fruit or grabbing something off of a virtual table, it's going to be years down the line that I think before I get really impressed and really excited about it, because when you look at it from a gaming standpoint, it's definitely going to revolutionize gaming once it spreads across the entire VR format. First-person shooter games, for instance, it's going to eliminate, like from the PlayStation side, you wouldn't need an aim controller. If from the PC side, you wouldn't need like a Pro Tool. I mean, you could use something as simple as a broomstick to hold your gun, and then you can like physically take your hand off of that stick or whatever you're using and grab your grenades, your clips, all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think it's gonna be great once we get to that point. But like right now, this kind of stuff that I'm seeing right now, that's great to know that that's on the way. But before we see something that I'm going to be excited about, it's probably going to be a few years.
See, Tantrum, I'm pretty sure that John Carmack said in that thing, the Quest can do 90 hertz.
Yeah, you can hack it to do 90.
Yeah, he can do that.
The screen, you can hack it already to do 90.
Yeah.
But it has knock-on effects for battery and heat.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Someone else said in the comments as well, the finger and hand tracking will basically take 10%, drain your battery 10% quicker while using that.
I kind of get where Lincoln was getting there, but I still think that for game-wise, having the mix of, say, an aim controller in a game and then having hand tracking, so that when you want to do that reload that you was talking about earlier, you take your hand off and you've still got a physical thing here, and then you go and grab your virtual clip and shove it in against your aim controller.
Yeah.
And you go back and aim down sights or whatever. That's where I think that it'll be interesting for gaming, because I think majority of games still will require physical, tactile things for that whole experience.
In no way would I want to get rid of controllers, and in no way would I want to get rid of joysticks, because I actually think the controllers are fantastic, and the Cosmos controllers are the only other controllers I've seen. Because I was going to say earlier, the Valve Knuckles with episode 2 Vader Immortal, Buck in the chat, he runs the channel, and he was playing that, and he was saying they are fantastic for throwing that lightsaber, because you can actually let go and then grab it again, and he was like, that makes an extra. So there's all these things happening that eventually we're going to get to like the ultimate controller somehow. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it actually, like with what Lincoln was saying, I think these leaps are coming quicker and faster, and the more I listen to Oculus and the more I listen to what people are saying, they are biting. They are really biting to like push VR, and I'm like well aboard. Like I put a thing on Facebook the other day, and some guy like wrote, FUCK Oculus, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, these guys are making things happen, because if they push an upgrade, someone else has got an upgrade. Who knows? Like if they keep going like this, PSVR 2, you can push your expectations of that up a notch. You can now safe to say, yeah, we're going to have really good controllers on there. We're probably going to have touch feelings on it. They've got to be, because it's got to be competitive. So I think it's great. Everyone wins. Do you know what I mean? Because it evolves. So cool. Let's go to Oculus Link. So we're going to just have this
subject. That's the bomb that was dropped.
Okay, Lincoln.
I'm actually going to let you three guys go.
Yeah, and I'm going to let Lincoln go first.
I have a unique take on this, so go.
Go, Lincoln. I know you got a lot to say about this, man.
The Oculus Link drastically changed my plans, because anybody who hasn't been living under a virtual reality rock knows that this Oculus Link is going to allow you to connect your Quest to a PC and play Rift games. I won't get into the details of how it performed and how it looked and all this kind of stuff, but it definitely changed my plans, because I bought my son an Oculus Quest just to get him through until I could get him a gaming PC. he has the gaming PC, and I gave him my CV1, but he still wants a Rift S. And I've got a lot of things laying around that I was getting ready to sell to come up with the money to get a Rift S because I didn't want to come out of pocket for it. Going to sell a PlayStation 4, a PlayStation Vita, and his Oculus Quest we were debating about whether to put that on the selling block or not. Now,
Sure.
because of the Oculus Link, that changed drastically. That Oculus Quest is going nowhere.
Yeah, it is the future. Like more than ever. When I come away from all this, I was thinking, damn, like, and I just want to hold on. There was a question that was asked me on a live stream, and it's now on my Twitter as like a vote thing. And last time I checked, it was 50-50 about what would you buy at this very moment. An Oculus Quest, like new out of box, like new, or would you buy a PlayStation 4 with a PSVR and the Move controllers for the same price roughly? And I was like, before OC6, I would have gone PlayStation because the games, like there's fantastic games on there. But after OC6, I was like, oh no, please don't ask me this. Because I'm struggling to find that answer. So, Sals, what's your thoughts on this cable, man?
I've got some different thoughts than I think many. It's a mixed bag. Number one, because of comfort. The Oculus Quest is very front heavy. Which means that comfort is an issue, and I play a lot of games like driving games and the such where you are in there for hours. So unless you can get the headset into a position where you can comfortably be in there for the hours, then it has that particular part as an issue. And a lot of people are saying, well, Rift S is dead, essentially. And I don't think it is essentially dead because of, number one, the comfort issue and some other issues which we'll go into, which are a little bit technical. Yeah. But this is where I think I always felt the Oculus Quest should have been in the first place. This should have been something where it was, it just seemed like a no-brainer to me when I first saw this hardware. I mean, if we went back and had conversations that we had in the past when the Quest was first released, I immediately came up with, I want to be able to just take a USB cable and bam, 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 there's my headset. And have that mobile thing and then plug it in. Now, a couple of things has to be said about this link cable as well. For people to understand, the cable that comes with the Quest is a USB 2 cable. It's a USB 3 cable. It's a USB-C, but USB 2 standard. There is a separate cable they're going to be selling, which is the USB 3 cable that goes over fiber optic. Yeah. Now that itself is things, because I mean that's an $80 cable, and when you go $80 for a cable, what the hell? Now, the reason why it is that expensive is because it literally is going to have a part that's a USB element, which is going to carry power. It's then going to convert the actual stuff, the digital talking stuff, to a fiber optic cable and send it over a 6-meter cable. So with that 6 meters length, it's a lot better. Mm-hmm. But it's a USB 3 cable essentially. So other USB 3 cables should work. So you are not going to need to have an RTX or a USB-C on your PC. As long as you actually have a USB 3 standard, you should be able to use this. And it should be able to do quite well. But here's the other little thing. the cables for USB 3, the longest you can basically do is 2 meters.
Yeah, I've been looking that up. Yeah.
The only other way to do it is a USB to fiber optic converter, which is where the basically what the Oculus cable is going to be. It'll have it all built in directly into the cable. A USB to fiber optic converter is about $300. So they are really doing a bargain on this. It's amazing that they're making that technology that cheap.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be if I can get that headset so it looks or feels that good, you're going to basically have the same resolution as a Vive Pro from a Quest that can plug into your PC. You can unplug it from the PC, use it as your standalone, take it out, come home, play every single game in your Steam library, your Oculus library, and that is mind-blowing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's where it should have been in the first place, but now they're bringing it. Does it kill off the Rift S? No, it doesn't. Because the Rift S has got the comfort, but it's also a different type of display. It's a completely different type of display. It has a different side to it that you're not getting. So it's very much a balancing act of what content you want to play and how you play the games and what games you play and what you want from something as a system for your VR lifestyle, if you like. That's my initial 2 cents. I think somebody else should definitely jump in with their thoughts on it, because that's where we'll get a bit more of the banter. There's technical stuff behind here as well.
Yeah.
If you guys want an answer to some of the technical stuff, I've got some notes prepared over there for me to cheat sheet off of a bit. But I think the big takeaway from this is if you are going in and you're wanting to play something really long, the comfort issue is a big thing. But I think it's an amazing, amazing deal. But I'm still. I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens from it.
So Robert Dodge come up with a good thing. He put USB-C, USB-A fibre optic cable is £300 10 metres. Hellish expensive, so Oculus is a bargain. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I was looking around, I was thinking to myself, could I, on the channel, thank you, gather like a number of different cables from different manufacturers and compare? And actually, like South is saying, we're going to struggle to do that. Yeah, it's going to, cost-wise, actually, the link cable looks to be the way forward.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, you can do the whole 2-meter USB 3. Don't bother with the USB 2. You will, as people have said, there's possibly artifacting and stuff like that could happen from that. What I do see is if you're going to use one of those other cables, it will have to be a USB 3, 2-meter for something like a driving game. If your PC or USB cable is close enough to your PC, 2 meters might be enough to do the job that you need for something that is a seated experience, like driving games and stuff, or flying games and stuff like that. But otherwise, the Oculus cable at 6 meters and that fiber optic is probably going to be the way to go.
So for me personally, and this is just right over to Nat, Quest, the comfort of Quest is the main thing. Now, going back to the Rift S and the PSVR, going back for comfort, I think the Rift S is more comfortable than the PSVR by a smidge. And PSVR was probably the most comfortable headset that I'd used. So the Rift S trumps that ever so slightly. And then basically, yeah, like out of the box, the Quest for me is the most uncomfortable headset you can buy. Like, there's no two ways about it. I find it genuinely quite... This is subjective. This is all subjective. Probably Nat. I don't know if he's ever had issues with it at all. I don't know. But for me personally, when I first got it, I was always like, Like it's like you had to figure out that you had to get this right beneath your head, like right under there, that round bit of your head. There was some guy put a picture on that he can't even use the quest properly because he's got a flat head. Like the back of his head is flat. And I'm like, oh, what do you say to that? You know, I'm assuming, but this is why this comes into play. This pad, this rear pad. Now for me, like I've done a review on it as well. I can't take this off. I won't take this off. It really does add a whole new element to the quest for me.
As well.
It really does. I think that, and you get a thin pad in there, and it almost, like people say, increase the field of view. It makes it close to your face, true, but what it does is shuts out more light, and that's something Mrs. GT, who doesn't use this hardly, noticed it between. She probably used it twice. To when I put this on, she went, "Bloody, it's really dark in here now." Because the first time she used it, she was like, "Oh look," like she could see all the light underneath. Yeah. So it was on the PlayStation, as you know, you've got the nose flaps. So yeah, like it was instant improvements as that went. That is the one thing that holds me back on this. As in going, that's it, we're done. There you go. See you later. The Rift S to me super comfortable. The display was fantastic. I'm yet to see high quality PC grade graphics in here. You know, I'm looking forward to that. The Rift S screen I thought was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. So, yeah, I'm really excited to check it out. I know all of us have got Quest, so we're all going to be checking this out at some point. I hope Nat does jump into the PC VR side of things more than ever now. You know, I mean, it's got to be tempting now, dude, because you haven't got to buy that headset now. For you in particular, actually, this is it. Like, you've got one component already sitting there paid for. You just need the PC. So, go on, over to you, man. Over to you.
Okay, well, obviously I'm in a unique position out of the four of us because all you guys have an Oculus Quest, you have an Oculus Rift, and we've all got PlayStation VR. So I'm the only one that when you start talking about PC VR, I can give my 2 pennies worth, but usually I shut my mouth. This does change the game for me, but there are caveats to it because the Oculus Quest was designed for short bursts of gameplay. The battery on that Quest is roughly, I would say, an hour and a half to 2 hours max, depending on the game that you're going to play. In fact, some games you'll even go down to about an hour if it's a really heavy-duty game. Now, the comfort is the big issue for me. An hour and a half or a 2 hour blast in an Oculus Quest headset is fine because then you'll blow through your game for that small amount of time and then you've got to charge your headset up. So you'll have a break of an hour or whatever it's going to be. Now, taking into account PlayStation VR in terms of comfort, and as you said, the Rift S is a little bit more comfortable, it uses the same Halo design.
Yeah.
Those headsets, even though they turn around and tell you, please take a break in them, if you want to sit there for 7-8 hours, like the initial time I played Skyrim was about a 7-hour playthrough on PlayStation VR, it's comfortable to play a 7-hour session of Skyrim in a PlayStation VR headset, and I'd assume it'd be the same in an Oculus Rift headset. It is not going to be comfortable to play a 7-hour session of Skyrim in an Oculus Quest headset with the way it's designed at the moment. So where people are going, oh, the Oculus Rift is dead, it's finished. No, it isn't. It does come down to the games. If you've already got an Oculus Rift, there's no reason to get rid of it. That would be insanity as far as I'm concerned. The people I think they're looking at are people like me that have an Oculus Quest and for whatever reason have decided not to jump into the PC VR marketplace. But I now, as you said, GT, all I now need to do is get a PC, a desktop, or most probably a laptop because I kind of prefer the style of laptops. I just need to buy a PC and I open up a whole range of games that are open to me. So you've got the Oculus Quest store that's open. They've also confirmed that Steam VR games will work on it. So for me, it is a perfect solution. I think the people that have got the hardest decision are actually people that don't own an Oculus Quest and don't own an Oculus Rift. because now they have to ask the question of what games do I want to play. And I've always said this about the VR headset. You know, you were saying about should somebody buy this headset or should somebody buy a PlayStation VR headset? The simple answer to that is who's got the games you want to play.
Yeah.
Because it's the games that will have you back in the headset. The Oculus Quest, Oculus announced that the Oculus Quest headset has the highest retention they've ever had of any headset. In other words, of people coming back and using it time and time again.
Yeah.
Because it's this immediate blast of games. Superhot is just so much fun to play. Beat Saber is, all right, I haven't got it on the Quest, but again, is a fun game to play. So, as I say, they've kind of targeted me to get a PC VR, or if you just happen to have a laptop that is VR ready, then it's like, okay, well, if you've got a Quest, you can play it. There are going to be technical issues. You got to remember that the VR Link is launching in beta, a bit like with Facebook Horizon as well.
Yeah.
So is this going to work perfectly off the bat in November? Like hell is it? There is going to be a lot of issues. There's going to be a lot of complaints. This isn't working. This isn't working. It is a work in progress that it's going to be. But for me, I say the possibility now where I've turned around how many times in these chats and said, I am so jealous of you guys being able to play Stormland. Guess what? Once I get the PC side of it sorted out, I can play Stormland.
Yeah.
Medal of Honor, Above and Beyond, I can play those games. Bit like what Lincoln was saying. Where he was looking to get a Rift for his son, it gives a lot of pressure off you. Like, you haven't got to sort of say, well, I've got to get the Rift. Because what you can do is you can try the Quest. If you find that the comfort is an issue, if you find that, it gets too hot while you're wearing it, well, then you look at the Rift as an alternative. He can always go to the Rift. But what it does give him is time. That, okay, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And that's the biggest thing it gives to everybody. It gives time about what you want to do. Because let's be honest, are you going to play PC games on your Oculus Quest, you guys? The likelihood is no. You'll try it.
No, and purely for comfort. The Rift, I've got the original Rift. I haven't got the Rift S, and it's just so much lighter, dude. It just sits on your face, and you kind of forget about it. So, and that means a lot to me because that's part of the immersion. That's part of what happens.
I would put a caveat to that. After actually upgrading from the normal faceplate that comes with the CV1 Rift, because the normal face interface is not that great. But once you put the upgrade on there, it feels very, very comfortable, and you can play almost forever in there.
Can you guys leave Skype and come back? Like, easy? Can you just leave the call and join the group again? I can't do that because if I do, if you want to try that, I don't know, your windows are back now, but they're sort of going in and out. I didn't know if you wanted to try that in a minute, if it's getting on your nerves at all.
All of our windows were going out?
No, Lincoln, yours and mine stay normal all the time. Okay. I've got no idea.
No, I've gone back normal, so let's just leave it as it is. So.
Cool.
While this is still a hot subject, I want to say that the Rift S, I don't think is dead, but I think its days are numbered. Because we know that when Oculus comes out with the next iteration of the Quest, it's probably going to be lighter. The weight's probably going to be more balanced. It's going to be more comfortable. It's going to be more powerful. It's going to do everything that the Quest is doing right now, and then some.
Yeah.
When that happens, I think that will signal that's when it's going to deliver the knockout blow to the Rift. That's when the Rift will be dead completely. It's not going to happen now. But like a coach that's in a hot seat where you think he's going to be fired in a year or two, that's what's going on with the Rift right now. The watch is on right now. Because if this works the way it's supposed to, Rift sales may start to go in the tank. And as 7 Degrees was saying, it buys me time. Because now I have to play the waiting game. Because if this thing takes off and it works the way it's intended, and it takes off and these Rift sales go in the tank to the point where the writing might be on the wall that they're getting ready to discontinue the Rift S, that's probably where we're going to start to see these clearance prices. So that's another element right there, because that would make me sick to my stomach if I go pay $400 for the Rift S and then the writing's on the wall that they're discontinuing it, and then I start to see a clearance price of $300, because with the CV1, I had no idea it was being discontinued when I bought it. I thought it was on sale for $350. I didn't know that was the permanent price because it had been discontinued.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I do think, in a way, all this Rift S stuff has been a bit of clickbait by some people. People want to see that. They want to see the bad side of things. You know what I mean? Like, to me personally, I'm not selling my Rift with this. I don't see why anyone would definitely not sell the Rift S for the link cable, purely for the comfort side of things. But someone put in the chat, the FrankenQuest made it their most comfortable headset yet. But to upgrade to the FrankenQuest, I believe, is around £100 or £120 to £130 for that.
It's fiddly to do as well, isn't it?
I don't know. I've just seen some videos on it, and I thought, man, I can't be arsed with that. It looks very expensive. Yeah. It's like that pad is 20 quid or something, or 15 quid. I don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, all I know is that FrankenQuest thought, wow, that looks really good. But you also lose your speakers as well, don't you? The speakers to share it around, don't you? But it's still in there. Don't. Oh, that's cool.
Speakers are a part of the front part of the Quest, but what you have to do is there's a spring loading mechanism inside there, and you have to unspring it and then fix in the other parts and stuff, and it's all kind of complicated, which is one of the things that I'm like, FrankenQuest, yeah, okay. The other thing you've got is, somebody's mentioned it as well in chat, about counterweights, counterbalancing the weight. And there's a couple of products out there that also deal with placing a fabric thing at the top that will sit on your forehead there, like up with the PSVR, and then a counterweight at the back to offset the weight from the front to the back.
Well, someone's got a Halo conversion kit for this already, and I reached out to the guy, but I think he's still making adjustments. I think he sent a couple out, and they weren't like amazed by it as he was hoping they were. So just waiting on that, seeing how things go. Yeah, either way, this is brilliant, because in a way it's lucky pressure, isn't it? It's not a bad thing. It's an amazing thing to happen. Like, I think, but as I said, for the people who do feel bitten by this, like, I've just got a Rift S, dude. I still don't, as a Quest owner, I don't see that. Like, I'm not thinking about getting rid of my Rift, and I've got the sensors and the wires and everything. Do you know what I mean? As the Rift S is just that wireless thing as well. It's just, or sensorless. It's all in and out tracking. So I don't know.
Like I said, it comes down to the games.
But you can play Steam games as well.
It does come down to the games. But like I said, the comfort issue is definitely a big thing with the Quest. As I say, it's been designed for that short burst, so we don't know how it's going to affect battery life. Now, we've had people that have obviously tried the VR Link at OC6, and they've come out very positive. As I said, during the Asgard's Wrath thing that we were looking at, that was the big thing that they were pushing to try get people to try Asgard's Wrath. And there were people saying, well, there was a slight tail back on textures, and like the water didn't look quite as good on the Oculus Quest version as it did on the Oculus Rift. The thing you got to remember in some ways, and I'm obviously a PlayStation VR owner, graphics ain't the biggest concern to me. They really aren't. The gameplay is the whole thing. So let's, for example, just say I get Stormland, and you get Stormland, everyone gets Stormland, and we're all playing co-op together. We're still playing the same game. Now, the quality of the graphics might be slightly lower for what I have in Quest, but we're still all having fun and playing the game and laughing our arse off and everything like that. It just opens doors for a lot more people to be able to do more. And there will be people that don't care about the PC VR side, and they'll just be happy with the Oculus Quest as it is now. And you were saying about the price of the cable. It's actually a 5 meter cable, not
it's 5 meters
cable, by the way.
Sorry.
It's 5 meters. Yeah, don't worry. I ain't gonna knock you for that, Sal. So what are you talking about, man? You know more about this stuff than usually me, but you just got that one wrong. There's about another 10 things I've got wrong. But yeah, the price for the cable, to be honest, I think is fantastic value. $79.99 for extremely lightweight, thin cable. I work in a shop where we sell cables nowhere near sort of quality, and they go for a lot more money. But like I said, the big thing is it's beta. And people do need to remember it's beta. There will be teething issues. There will be problems. There will be games at play. And a lot of people actually don't know this. Developers can opt out.
Wow.
Now, why would you opt out as a developer? I have no idea. But developers do actually have the option of saying, I do not want my game to work. Because the VR Link, I assume, is a program that has to do some sort of conversion.
It's different in... it works in a similar way to what the virtual desktop program works. So it's not sending like you have a native video signal down the cable. Because when you have your Rift S, that's sending an uncompressed DisplayPort image down the cable. What's happening with the VR Link is the computer is going to be taking your gameplay and it's going to be converting it to a video. It's going to encode that like we do with what we're streaming. It's going to encode that and then send that encoded video down to the Quest, and then the Quest is going to unencode that video to display it.
BaconBot just said, here's something you're all not thinking about. Who would make a PCVR game when everyone owns a Quest? I think this Link saved the Rift.
No, because there would always be games. What it does do is open up a lot more people to buy their games.
Yeah.
Because let's forget about, or let's not forget about the first thing that Mark Zuckerberg said when he strode onto that stage. That in the Oculus store, they have sold $100 million worth of content. In the 4 months that the Oculus Quest has been out, that accounts for $20 million of it. The Oculus Rift and the Oculus Store has been around for 3 years. The Oculus Go, which, let's be generous, accounts for, say, $5 million worth of content, has been around for 2 years. So you're telling me in 4 months it sold 4 times as much content as the Oculus Go, and it sold almost a third of what the Oculus Rift has. The Oculus Go is a huge sale. They're even saying, and they're also saying it with the Rift S, by the way. Jason Rubin came out and said, we are selling them as fast as we can make them. They literally can't make them fast enough. They're just flying off the shelves, both systems. But obviously their focus has to be on Quest because they're just making so much money.
It's headlining as well. It's headlining everywhere, the Quest.
It is. I mean, it's what people were saying that they wanted from a VR headset. That's why so many people were brought in. The majority of people are very happy. I know there's a few people that I've heard from in my chat who have been very unhappy with the Quest, and so I said, oh, it's got crappy visuals. It's like, well, it depends what you were expecting. You know, if you were expecting Rift graphics, you ain't ever going to get them. If you were hoping for graphics on par or slightly better than PlayStation VR, you might get that because of the higher resolution of the image, but it's going to have to drop textures. The one game that kind of comes to mind very quickly is Robo Recall. That was the one thing I always heard from everybody. Oh, the textures and stuff, and there isn't quite as many as enemies. Guess what? The gameplay was still the same. And if you've never tried, like I hadn't tried Robo Recall on PC, I still had a really fun experience with the game in the Oculus Quest, and because of the untethered experience, it's great. So, as I said previously, this buys time if you're on the fence. Now, if you're a Rift owner, I think you would be insane to get rid of your Rift. I really do. There's no reason. You will have the best PC VR experience with the Oculus Rift. Out of the 2 headsets, obviously, and then you can take into account Vive and Cosmos and all these other headsets, and just that's a whole different. Hold on, let me just. I've got McAfee throwing a hissy fit at me, but with I say Oculus Quest, it's not going for that PC VR customer. It's going for the customer that was going to buy the Quest anyway. But guess what? You can also play PC VR games. That's really cool.
It's bringing them to the Rift store, as far as I can see, and PC VR, because I think there will always be. So someone mentioned, there's a lot going on in the chat. Someone mentioned Half Dome. Yeah, I put a video up of Half Dome 3, and going back to what you were talking about, Lincoln, like this headset, they're pushing, like Oculus are doing stuff behind the scenes that is so advanced. Do you know about Half Dome 3, Lincoln?
Yep. Oh, I do.
Hold on.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, dude, I chucked a video on my channel saying the future of VR, and it's like snippets of their conversation, because they can talk for like 45 minutes or even an hour and a half, and it's nice to just get that information in one thing. Like, try and check that out. I think that's pretty cool. JD Max come out of a great thing. He put, what I'm trying to say is, who basically wants to buy a PC just to play those games? Yeah, there's no way everyone is going to go out and buy a $2,000 PC to be able to play those games. Welcome Paradise Decay. How you doing, man? He's then come back and said, well, hold on a minute. I know a few people who are doing that, and my PC only cost me £900. So there is a thing there where, and I've got people now asking me about specs of PCs. I think if you look at it, I think 16 gigs of RAM, an i7, and I think Paradise runs a 1060 for his. And he streams as well, I think, all from the same PC. So, hold on. I can see Sousa's lips. He's either trying to blow me a kiss, or he's got a lot to say.
If you're going to stream, then an i7 is necessary. But the minimum spec on this is the same as it is for a Rift S, which is an i5. If you are playing something and you are not streaming, the majority of games you can actually get away with from a decent i5. Because there's a lot of games out there that don't need all the big multi-processing. They don't need the hyper-threading. They don't need that. Yeah. All they need is that single core, the single core performance. I mean, I've played a version of DCS World, the combat simulator playing game, on a Rift S that was running on an i5, where they'd offloaded the maps onto a main server so that it didn't have to deal with that. And it was butter smooth compared to what I play on an i7. And it was literally how they'd set the thing up. But you can actually get some quite decent VR experience from not having the top end. But obviously the top end helps depending on what you're going to do, what game you're going for, stuff like that. So you can get VR to run on something that isn't going to break the bank.
Yeah, it all comes down to settings though as well, don't it? So
if
you
and
want
optimization
settings, you're going to have an issue. So
I can definitely follow up on what Salsa's saying, because I have an Alienware that has an i5 in it, an i5 9400, and I do the VR games run, like you said, buttery smooth, and I'm streaming from that very same computer.
What's your GPU, man?
The GPU, it has a RTX 2070 in it.
Yeah, same.
So yes, he's absolutely right. You don't need a $2,000 computer to have a great experience out of VR. In fact, I just bought my son an iBuy computer about 3 weeks ago that has a I think it has a GTX 1660 in it, and it has a I believe it has a i5 8700 in it, I believe.
That's good. It's a good processor for that.
Yeah, so it's buttery smooth, and I caught it on sale for $150 off, and got it for $700. And it appears to be money well spent. You know, I've taken a look at it myself through the CV1, and it looked good with surprisingly with no blur, and it ran pretty good. So it was I think I'm definitely pleased with that investment. But yes, as you were saying, Salsa, you don't have to break the bank to get a good VR experience from a PC.
No, I mean, the reason I bought what I bought is because I do video editing. which I know is a heavy costing, plus the streaming. Like that's why I went down the route I went with the i9 and all the rest of it, because I need it all to work well for a long period of time. Do you know what I mean? That's how I see PCs. I was bitten in the past, so I thought, spend the money now, and hopefully I'll get a good 3-4 years out of this. See how it goes. And luckily enough, what I'm hearing from developers is it's all about optimization. You know, and I think it was Master Blaster said what he was saying earlier was he was worried that if the games can all be played on Quest now, are they going to start bringing back the games? Do you know what I mean? Dulling them down a little bit, or not doing those fantastic effects and stuff. So I think that's what he was getting at anyway earlier.
Because the Quest is like the little cousin, that you drag around to stuff. Like I say, it's still gonna be a fun experience. The basic gameplay experience is the same. You're just going to take a hit through artifacting and visuals and stuff like that. To be honest, if you've used PlayStation VR, if you've used the Quest just as it is, the PC side is actually most probably going to be a revelation anyway. You'll be like, damn, this looks really good. The only people that I would say, like I would look at it and sort of say, damn, this looks really good. It would only be then that somebody sort of says, by the way, here's a Rift S running on the same PC. Now I have a look at it. Oh, damn, that actually looks a little bit better. But if you haven't got that that point of reference, it's still going to look great. And you're still playing Stormland. You're still playing Asgard's Wrath. You're still playing Medal of Honor on this. I mean, I was looking at a laptop. I might actually go desktop. But we got a laptop at work that's now I don't have 16 gig because it's a laptop. It's 8 gig, and it's using a 1660 Ti as the processor. And at the moment, it's £900. But occasionally at work, we do 50% off so we can clear through the stock. And so somebody's like saying, "We'll get a £2,000 PC." Listen, if I pick that up for £450, actually, I also get the start discount, so that actually brings it down to £405. That's a damn good computer for £405, and it will run VR fine for the level that I want it to run. I don't want the highest settings. I don't care about the highest settings. What I care about is gameplay. Will I have a fun experience playing the game? Yes. And so, like I say, yes, you can spend 2,000. Like you said, you bought an i9 because you wanted to do a lot of other stuff. I don't want to do that. I just want to play games. So for me, like I say, as a PSVR owner, as an Oculus Quest owner, this is an amazing solution. Like I say, I'm kind of glad that I have the Quest already, because the one place I think would be a much harder decision to be in is the person that was thinking, do I buy an Oculus Quest or do I buy an Oculus Rift S? That person, I don't envy their decision making process. But like I've always said about, when people, like they've asked you, GT, they've asked me as well, should I buy a Quest? Should I buy a PlayStation VR? The one thing I always go back to, because it's the most important thing for a gaming headset, is games. What has got the games that interest you? What has got the games that you want to play?
Yeah.
If you want to play Stormland, you want to play Asgard's Wrath, PlayStation VR ain't going to give you that. You're going to have to get PC, maybe a Quest now, obviously, but you were going to have to get a PC that run those games quite smoothly. You were going to have to get the PC VR headset.
I think Medal of Honor is going to be the real pickup of people. I think out of all them games that we're seeing,
Quest will go big time.
I think Medal of Honor is the game where a lot of people are going to see that and go like, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? And also, like, there's more content providers out there. YouTube, like, for VR is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. People start seeing Medal of Honor. They're not going to really see these podcasts or the trailers, or, do you know what I mean? They're not going to see that stuff. What they're going to see is Lad Bible. What they're going to see is, whatever, those other things. They go, what the hell's that? Like, what is this? Is this Medal of Honor? But it looked like the guy reloaded the gun himself. Like, what the hell was that? It's things like that. That's what happens. Do you know what I mean? So
when you get Jack Frags playing Medal of Honor,
yeah,
that's the guy who gets millions of views on his videos.
Yeah,
and that's the one where people will be, because you can just imagine Jack Frags. He's actually been very pro VR anyway. I'll give him that. big time out of a lot of the big YouTubers. Some YouTubers are very dismissive of VR. Jack Frags has actually been very pro VR. He's always had kind words, good things to say about it. Him on his channel, bigging up Medal of Honor. How many people is that going to draw to buy either a Rift S, an Oculus Quest, and then the PC? They might even already have the PC to play the game.
The other way to look at it, I mean, it should ask the question, but what that does lead then into is searching for passionate people. That's what'll happen. They're like the entry point, a lot of them, because I remember, as I said this before on here, I was speaking to the guys who made To The Top, and they said, like, Jacksepticeye got like 4 million views on his video. Hardly any of it turned into sales. Like, he just didn't. But what probably did happen was some of it went, oh, what's To The Top? And then someone else's video come up and they're talking about the game, they're talking about the tech, and they learn a bit more about it. It's all about that doorway. Just to jump back into the chat, because it got very, well, it went a bit crazy, to be honest with you, which is great, obviously, but it's just hard to keep up with, and I'm really trying to. A lot of people saying, like, I was Blaster Master, I was playing, Buck says i7, he's using an i7 with a 1080 Ti. Nice. 1080 Ti is a bit of a legendary card, actually. That was that's had a lot of things happening with that. It's very expensive now for some reason. Blast Monster was playing for more than a year on the i5. Nice. Pepper Chicken, the only games I've had trouble running. Sorry?
Played for a long time with a GTX 970.
Yeah.
So
some people saying, Lincoln, that you're bottlenecking your graphics card by having a lower processor, that you should upgrade that processor.
I would, but the problem with that is, see, I bought that computer from Best Buy. So what's in it is the way it came. And I also bought a 2-year warranty with that PC. I do not want to circumvent that warranty by trying to put other components in it. Because I don't want the warranty to be void and then my computer kicks the bucket. So I'm not going to touch it until that warranty runs out.
Yeah.
You might actually find with your warranty, if you speak to, you said it was Best Buy you got it?
Yes.
If you actually go to Best Buy, I think you'll find that they offer a service that they'll charge you, obviously, unfortunately.
They'll do it in-house,
they will actually do it in-house, and it won't void your warranty.
Then they
then I'll definitely look into that, because I know when I had the Cyber Power, I bought 2 of those, and they both kicked the bucket in the same manner in the same time frame. 2 weeks after I bought it.
Oh.
Bad move. The first one that kicked the bucket when I brought it to Best Buy, they said, well, because I think the SSD card went out, and they said, well, you could go ahead and buy it and put it in yourself. And I said, yeah, but that would probably kill the warranty. And he didn't say, oh, no, it won't. You'll be fine. He didn't say anything. So I took that as, I'm going to lose the warranty if I add any parts to it. So that's so back to what you're saying, 7 Degrees. That's something that I'm going to have to ask them. And if they say that I can upgrade the processor without losing the warranty, then I'll definitely look into that. But the i5 that I have in there, it can be overclocked.
Yeah,
there's settings in the PC to overclock it.
I just want to say, thank you to everyone in this chat today. It's been absolutely fantastic. You make this show, and it is difficult. I just want to say it's quite difficult for us to deliver the subjects, because when we started the show and I spoke to the guys, I wanted to make interaction with the chat one of the main things is what we do, because this show is for you. And if you want to talk about a subject or there's something coming up, that's what we're here for. I'm not saying we've all got the answers, but we're just normal gamers as well. I know some people tell me stuff I don't know, which is great. That's what it's all about. We're all one big community. Oculus Quest Fun says it's great that it's not really a PlayStation versus Oculus. It's more let's all get into VR. That's wonderful. I love that. If that's his mindset, that's my mindset as well. Fantastic. Charlie Lima, Quest and Quest Link is the way to go for about 8 to 10 new users into VR. It's interesting. Paradise.
I think it's one of those things as well. It is one of those things for a new person coming in.
Yeah, Paradise Decay said, I'm sure back in the chat earlier, he said he saw a second-hand desktop or laptop for like 450 quid. He's put, people have been sending me links to laptops and desktop PCs asking if it will run VR, mostly to play Medal of Honor VR. So that's awesome. Ham, on the subject of optimization, I suspect Steam VR games on the Quest Link will have the most hiccups, and the Oculus Store games, yeah, I think that as well, because I get a better experience, not on all games, in general, when I play a game on an Oculus Store, to if I play it directly on Steam, or I run it on Steam through the Oculus.
Yeah, it depends on if the Steam version actually uses the Oculus Direct driver,
Yeah.
or if it goes via Steam VR and the Open VR driver. If it only has an Open VR driver, then the performance is never as good as the native Oculus version. If it's got a direct Oculus version, then it's usually about the same comparatively.
Robert Dodge says, hell is all about optimization. Look at what we get out of the Snapdragon. Yeah, is it the 835? Is it the Snapdragon in there? Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable what Oculus have managed to do. Also, I did actually want to point out, because obviously I do have a gaming laptop, doesn't have a very good graphics card because it won't actually run Alan Wake, which I was a bit surprised about considering how old that game is. But I've already actually owned some VR compatible games on Steam. Like I own The Forest. I know you played The Forest. I actually own The Forest. And that has a free VR mode. So eventually when I do actually upgrade my PC, which to be honest, I will do. I mean, to be honest, the PC that I've got, I paid £280 for.
Yeah.
So for what I wanted, literally, I just wanted it to do two things. I wanted to be able to play Total War Warhammer and that style of the ilk of game, because they're only ever going to come to PC. And that was pretty much it. That was my thing. I didn't even have the thought that, okay, I might be able to play VR on this sort of thing. But yeah, so I'll keep an eye out at work. As I say, we always have deals. And I'll pick up a fairly cheapish on deal laptop, desktop if I have to, but I'd still prefer a laptop just for the general style of my room. A laptop suits me better. But like I say, I don't care about getting the best graphical experience. What I care about is getting the best gameplay experience. And I know that might be affected with the PC, but on whole, the gaming experience can still retain its quality, but you just have to downgrade the visual side of it.
As long as the frame rate's there, that's very important
that's
in
the most
VR.
important thing, yeah. So.
Yeah, is frame rate. DLG27, opening up the Quest to PC VR only makes PC VR market bigger, which helps in the long term. Absolutely. Paradise says, my local PC world have a desktop gaming PC for £999 with the GTX 2070. That's fantastic. Like, that is... That's awesome. So yeah, Charlie Lima, claps for you four guys. Oh, cheers, man. Thank you ever so much. Everyone who builds their own PC is screaming at their monitor right now. Lincoln. Quality.
Yeah, awesome. I saw that, Ham, and that's why I typed in there. I said I see, because I'm laughing at that, because this Alienware that I bought is actually I bought a total of 4 PCs. I bought 2 Cyber Powers, which both of them took a crap. Then I bought my Alienware. Then I bought that iBuy Power for my son. Yeah. So yeah, now that I've revealed that, I guess the rest of the PC community can come at me with the torches and pitchforks.
Nice. Yeah, The Forest is a fantastic game of virtual reality. One I don't get to play very often. So much going on. So yeah, Honosuri, that's another good point at the Quest link. Some gaming laptops are HDMI, so can't do the Rift S.
Yeah, there is that, because the Rift S is a DisplayPort.
Yeah.
So you can't go from HDMI to DisplayPort. You can go from DisplayPort to HDMI. Can't really do the reverse.
I'd personally, and I was a massive laptop fan for a long time, like Mac as well, like, desktop is the way forward, I believe, because at the moment, the way they are now, just take off the side of your PC, put something new in there. Like, I wouldn't go near a laptop for this. The more I read about, and I was new to it, do you know what I mean? I'm still learning. I think every day you learn something a bit new about tech, and especially now you're in VR, because it seems like we are on that brink. Do you know what I mean? We are pushing stuff, and we are learning new things and new words and new technologies. I would go for a desktop personally. If I was ever going to buy something new to go into this.
That's where I come from as well. I think that the desktop gives best value for money, versatility for upgrading in the future. I can understand different appeals of laptops in other ways, but I think if you're looking to get a certain experience at price points, you do eventually need to look at desktops. If you've got the money, and or you can find a laptop that is capable, then fine. But you can normally get more bang from your buck from a desktop or tower-cased PC.
Buck, I've just had a great idea, man. What else you said? More bang for your buck. That is a great title for some of your streams. That's what you got to do. You got to find like the game that is on sale, yeah, and then stream it, and it'll be a bang for your buck stream. That is fantastic. I'm really happy with myself about that one. I look forward to seeing that happening. What else we got going on here? Yeah, a lot of people saying about the desktop thing. That's cool. Paradise. Yes, you are correct. My humble i7 with GTX 1060 runs VR games plus all the software needed to record, etc. Yeah, that's it. So, like, yeah, that's what I was trying. I was basically using your setup, Paradise, to advise other people, because then it's a little bit more than what they need, hopefully, because I know you make videos and you stream sometimes, I think. I don't know. Normally you're making videos, but I know making videos needs some processing power. With my old Mac, I went from like a 2013 Mac, which I think had like an i3 in it, and it used to take 4.5 hours to do maybe a 20-minute video. And then I went to the i5 on the next Mac. Admittedly, it had double the RAM, and it went down to like, I don't know, 20 minutes. It was crazy. Like, these processors are... I know VR is power hungry though, isn't it? Like, most of the time. And that's where optimization, again, comes in. And when you play something like Red Matter in this, it's like, wow. How the hell did that happen? Like... I'm not saying, you know, the game, to me, actually, I didn't like really the controls on the Quest, but visually, dude, like, that's like a tech demo, really, when you have a look around in that.
Yeah, this is something that I've come back to as well. I think that with how technology is going at the minute, unless there is a paradigm shift in the hardware market, optimization is the big future for gaming and making improvements that we've been used to. So the improvements going forwards in terms of graphics and everything else like that isn't necessarily going to come from improvements in hardware as we've seen in previous years. It's going to be improvements in optimization and how we work in that way.
Right. Yeah, Gaming Legends has just put, personally, all save your cash for the PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2. So, you know, there's all these people there, they're happy with what they got and they want to move around. So, do you know what I mean? It's this the game, just watch the trailer of Medal of Honor. Yeah, Medal of Honor, dude. It's like, it's crazy stuff. So, yeah, do you know what I mean? You've got the PlayStation fans, we've got the Oculus fans, and then we've got the VR fans. So, yeah, as long as we all agree, like, you got to support this tech because, as I said before, if one makes a sudden leap forward, the other goes, crap, we better make a leap forward as well because otherwise we're going to be left behind. And that's just how it's going to go. I think we all spoke about PSVR 2 before, didn't we? What we expected, and we all expected inside-out tracking. I mean, are you thinking hand tracking's going to be on there, or are you thinking anything like that will happen? Or I think all that will now. I do.
The PS2?
PSVR 2, yeah.
I think it's a subject that's best not broached at this point.
We've been going quite a while, haven't we? To be fair,
that is its own. That's its own subject in itself that should not be mentioned just yet. It's too early.
We've still got 54 viewers. I reckon they're enjoying watching your dancing heads. It's not about what we're talking about. It's the dancing heads.
Head, little head, big head, little head.
Well, the thing is, I reckon PS5 will get unveiled most probably February, March next year for a release in October, November. But I guarantee you one thing. They ain't, in February, March, when they unveil PS5, they ain't going to talk about PSVR 2. But the one thing they will talk about is PSVR implementation. They will tell us, because I honestly feel there's going to be... Again, look at how clever Sony have been. They've already come out and said PSVR is going to work with the PS5.
Yeah.
And I said it when they said that, and as I've said it with the Quest, what it buys Sony is the most important factor. It buys them time. So you can't underestimate what that actually gives you.
I'm a new buyer trust as well, that I can buy this headset now. It's not about to just be dropped when the next gen of console comes out.
Yeah, crazy. Lincoln, you got anything to add to any of this, or you good, man?
Not to this particular subject, but I definitely, if we continue to move forward with OC6, I definitely got something that I want to say that, you know, is probably...
Go ahead, man.
Go for it.
OC6, the AR glasses that we saw. Those AR glasses, in my opinion, just signal the death of the smartphone.
Okay. I don't know much about AR glasses, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm happy to try and find some information.
You know, I don't know a terrible amount about that, but we know that with these augmented glasses, I think we're eventually, they want to move to an area where your full body is in whatever environment that you're exploring. So, and the reason why I think that this is going to signal the death of the smartphone is you're going to have AR glasses. There's also going to be a phone as well. I think, and this is the part where I was saying that I think people are either going to think I'm on drugs or they're going to think they're going to be on board with this. Take you, for instance, GT. I could, you know, in augmented reality, I think where this is going, we could have a situation where you might be at a soccer game, as we call it here in America, called soccer.
Yeah.
And we're both wearing AR glasses. I can take a seat next to you in that stadium, even though like you might actually be at the game, but I can take a seat next to you in augmented reality. Everybody else in that stadium won't see me. You'll be able to see me because I'm wearing the glasses, and I'll be able to see you. We'll be able to sit next to each other, have a conversation, tour the streets of London, whatever. And then it's still a phone on top of that. And then you make a phone call to somebody through these AR glasses, and they can choose to answer the phone call in augmented reality, where, you know, you get a holographic image or whatever the case may be of that person standing in front of you when you make the phone call. I think this is where AR is headed in the next 10 years. And I think because of that, the smartphone as we know it is going to be dead in 10 years.
I will point out one issue if you do that with GT Lincoln, and he's at a football match. He will be escorted out of the ground by stewards, because the person next to him will just walk up to a steward and say, "There's this crazy steroid up guy sitting next to me who's talking to himself." And I'm really scared he's going to freak out because he's talking to someone.
My mind ran all over the place with this thought, because, you know, somebody could be having a birthday party that lives in California and I can't be there, but I put on those augmented glasses and be at the area where this party is going on. And the person, anybody that's at that party that's wearing augmented reality glasses will see me. I'll see them. I'll be able to converse with them, mingle around the party and talk to people who might be wearing glasses, dance with them, whoever. So it sounds really crazy, but I think that's where we are headed. And I think the proof in that is that with Apple diving into AR. I know they were working on something. I heard it got canceled, whatever the case may be. I think after Oculus showed us those AR glasses, I think they might have given us a glimpse into what Apple might have been working on. That they might have been working on AR glasses themselves to replace the iPhone, where you might have, Apple AR glasses 38 or the Samsung Galaxy AR glasses. I think this is going to happen in about 10 years.
Dude, the only person who could add something to that, I imagine, is Salsa. Because, to be fair, mate, I have not got a Scooby about 67% of what you just said. Salsa?
Well, I do think, AR definitely has a place. For gaming, I don't see it as big as a thing, because I think the gaming side that you'd get on AR glasses is a different thing. For a social aspect and for a working environment, AR glasses to me are the future there. Definitely for a social app and phone replacement and stuff like that, they can definitely work some wonders. But of course, the big theory is, does everybody know that what our glasses are already actually AR? Just had to throw.
And I think that might be part of Oculus's vision.
Yeah, I think you've already got the AR in your glasses already. I see those freaking
I think that might have been part of Oculus's vision to reach 1 billion people. Because not necessarily in the next couple of years, but maybe 10 years down the line. Because I think 10 years down the line, when this augmented reality, these glasses take over the mainstream, like I think 10 years from now, there's going to be way more augmented reality people out there than there are VR people.
Oh, my goodness.
Because social apps like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter dominate the industry right now. And I think AR is I think what they have planned, I think is going to be Facebook times 100 through augmented reality.
Well, on that bombshell, I think we might have to finish the show. Because we've been going a hell of a long time, and I'm sure everyone watching it must have a sore bum, because my bum's sore sitting here for this long.
Paradise PD. Did you see PD?
What did he put, man? Everyone's going to turn into chairs.
They're going to turn into chairs.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, man. No one will attend parties. They can be poised at home. Yeah, as I said before, I've been to a raving rec room. That was absolutely fantastic. So, Robert Dodge, great discussion as always. I need to get back to Planet Zoo Beta. Nice stuff.
I'm turning to Bender the robot here.
Yeah, he's going to turn into Bender. Who else we got? You'll be in a virtual world. Honasuri, see you later, man. Take care. Thank you ever so much, everyone. Thank you to the patrons of the channel. Thank you for any donations we received. If I missed them, I do apologise. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments, guys. As I said, you really do make this show fantastic every week. So, cheers. Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Catch you later, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. We're going to go to that. Then we're going to go to that.